the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show with the three amigos. Hochman, Crowder, and Solana on FM radio. Them boys be sliding, so we riding and we ready to go. 100,000 watts full throttle, baby, ready to blow. We passing coca to Jupiter, we got your attention. You can tune in anywhere, but listen at your discretion. To the legend, Mr. Hochman can't stop him, each other deuce. My brother got his own hot burger at Tucker Deuce. Now my Rushmore of these sports, spitting the truth. It's Channing Crowder, greatest Dolphins, who rock the 52. Solana one best of Miami, the voice of FIU. We reppin' to Miami, the Heat and the Panthers too. We reppin' for the Marlins, the Dolphins, that's how we do. We reppin' for the Crips, so it's always about the you. Hey Jimmy, please get a Pell on the phone and tell him that it's on. I finally got his name on the song. Can't do it wrong, cause it sounds so sweet. Just spit the facts while I keep the crowd on their feet. Football season be the reason that I be bringing this heat. Georgia music representing 104.3. Hey,
live from the Play Show, yet not overly ostentatious studios of 104.3 FM WQAM. It's Hochman, Crowder, and Solana on this Thursday. Hawk is on vacation, still in Switzerland. Crowder hopefully will be joining us at some point, but it's Zach Gelb and Alejandro Solana here with you. Jimmy back in the shop. Mario Chalmers going to join us coming up. Two-time champion at 2:25 today. Dougie Plagans will join us as well. We got a whole lot to do in the aftermath of another Kachuk coming to Florida with the Panthers. Giannis Antetokounmpo unofficially coming to the Miami Heat. But Alejandro Solana, I got to start the show off today with this. And I never thought in a million years I'd be talking about this person to start off the show. And maybe your passion and love for the Miami Heat is rubbing off on me. And I've only been doing this show for a few days. I've been filling in for the last few months. But I'm agitated. I'm annoyed, agitated, and just PO'd about something that's going on in the Miami Heat rumor mill. But first, let me say this to you. How are you on this Thursday?
I'm doing very well, Gelby. I am on, day 3 now that the Miami Heat have traded for Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's not even officially official yet, even though we know it's all going to happen. And the high has not worn off yet that the Miami Heat got Giannis Antetokounmpo.
And here's the thing. We're sitting there, we're trying to figure out what's next. And we've gone through all the names. We've talked about LeBron, and Rich Paul's even added into that. We'll get into that later today. We've discussed Anthony Simons. We've gone through the Chris Middletons of the world. We've even had some fun at the reunion of one Gabe Vincent. We've gone through all the names here. And I don't think that, unless if it's LeBron, I don't think the Heat are going to get another star with the way the aprons are set up and all that. And there's a lot of names out there. You saw Lonzo Ball just got traded today to the Timberwolves for a big package. And now you're going to have Lonzo Ball with Anthony Edwards. There's rumors about Kevin Durant. But there's been a lot of rumors about Kawhi Leonard. Mm-hmm. And I saw this article from Jake Fisher. And Underdog NBA basically put the Spark Notes version out there. And I'm reading through this. And it said, the Clippers are determined to keep Kawhi and his first choice is remaining with the team. Then I see the Raptors have genuine interest should Kawhi become available. Then I read Kawhi wouldn't have been interested in signing an extension with the Pistons or Heat if they traded for him, would only consider signing an extension with the Raptors or the Spurs if traded. And when I read that originally, I will admit, and I'm not the best reader in the world, I read it as he would sign an extension with the Pistons or the Heat. Who the heck is this guy, Kawhi Leonard, with that Fugazi tree planting business that he's still getting investigated about? And I want answers on that. Screw this guy. F that guy. That he wouldn't sign an extension with the Miami Heat? Well, let me speak for Pat Riley right now. Pat, early in the week, I wanted you to retire. I wanted you to go to the early bird special. Then you got Giannis. Now I'm all back in. I'll speak for Pat Riley. Kawhi, we don't want your antics. We don't want you in Miami. So you wouldn't sign an extension here? Well, guess what? We wouldn't be giving you one. How about that, Solana?
We, huh? We?
Go New York, go.
I'm with you. Here's the thing though, Gel, but I mean, he's a 2-time champion. It's not like we're talking about
F him. He beat the Heat in the finals. F him.
It is funny, though, like, Gelby, where do you put Kawhi Leonard at this stage in his career? Because I think you had said it yesterday. At one point last season, after they trade James Harden, and the Clippers go from like a 4-18 record to the best stretch in the NBA throughout the next 2 months. I don't remember what the numbers were. He was arguably the best player in the league during that stretch. But we all know what happened at the end of the season. It's what happens with Kawhi Leonard every single year. You can't trust him to be healthy. You can't trust him to be on the court. And ultimately, his team, since going to the Clippers, has come up short every single year. So where do you put Kawhi Leonard at this stage of his career? Because yes, when healthy, he's probably one of the most talented basketball players still on planet Earth. But can he stay healthy? Can you rely on that if you're one of these teams that would be willing to kind of take the plunge and trade for him? I don't know anymore. I genuinely don't know if he's like one of the preeminent superstars or even all-stars in the NBA right now.
He's a great player, but you can't count on him. That's how I would say it. If he's there in the postseason, he should be rocking. But can he get there? And how much in the regular season is he actually going to play? But here's what I just don't get about it. And I know it's all confusing. This is not the era of the big threes where you had Garnett and Paul Pierce and Ray Allen in Boston, and then the big three in Miami, and then even to an extent what the Golden State Warriors did, and then they just took it to a different level. This is different now with how you construct and how you build the team, how teams don't want to go into the second apron. So take out the dollars and cents, for a second. But let's say if I could tell you that Kawhi Leonard got traded to the Miami Heat, all kidding aside with how I started off the show, it'd be a brilliant move for Miami. I don't know how they'd be able to get it done and to trade for him with all that they just basically gutted and gave up for Giannis Antetokounmpo. But if the Heat got him, here's where I don't understand. Why would Kawhi Leonard not want to live in Miami? Why would Kawhi Leonard not want to play on a team with Giannis Antetokounmpo, and you would still factor in that if they're making this move, Bam would still be here and they would form a new big three? This is why this guy is such a strange dude. And yes, he won an NBA championship with the Spurs, won a finals MVP. We know that here. Then he goes to Toronto and had a great one-man run with the Raptors and wins a championship. He's a remarkable player, but he's one of the most confusing players in the history of the league because you never know when he's going to be healthy. You never know when he's going to show up. And he floats out there basically to Jake Fisher, and Jake's talking to people in the Kawhi camp. I don't know if he's talking to Uncle Dennis. I don't know who he's talking to. But Kawhi wouldn't be interested in re-signing with Miami with how far-fetched it is that he would get traded to Miami. But if he did, he wouldn't want to re-sign. Why not? Why wouldn't you want to go join the Miami Heat right now?
Well, one, I do think he just wants to be in Los Angeles. So he doesn't want the Clippers or any team.
He would be willing to go back to Toronto. The Raptors in Canada. Give me a break.
Yeah, but he won a title there. And by the way, Gelby,
left.
The Raptors, look, I don't want Kawhi here. I'm not as high on that fit as maybe you would be. Sure, star power, the names on paper, you form a big three with Kawhi, with Giannis Antetokounmpo, with Bam Adebayo. Yes, on paper, that's arguably the best three-man unit in the NBA. Arguably, we could argue about that. But I'm not in love with that fit. To me, you've got the front court that you need. And if you're going to bring in another star or superstar of that caliber, you want somebody who has a little bit more of a three-point threat in their arsenal. And to me, Kawhi Leonard doesn't have that. Sure. Am I enamored with the idea of Kawhi Leonard in a pick and roll with Giannis Antetokounmpo or Bam Adebayo, and then whoever's not setting the screen is diving to the basket for an alley-oop? Absolutely 100%. But I think the Heat want to get away, Gelby, from players who are unavailable. It's what Pat Riley himself told me at his end-of-season press conference. And Giannis already has the injury concerns. So even in this hypothetical situation where I don't know what you'd be giving up for him, I don't know what the Clippers are looking to add for him, because that doesn't look like an organization to me that wants to go into a full rebuild by moving off of Kawhi Leonard. I'm not in love with that fit. So I don't really care. I understand why he'd want to go to Toronto. They were a playoff team last year, and he won a title there. And I just think he likes that city, even though he ended up leaving them for absolutely nothing and didn't re-sign with them. But he probably doesn't want to be the second or the third face of a team at this point of his career. And I can understand that. I really can.
So I will say two things on this. One, we need to see what happens with this investigation, because they did find it funny how like Adam Silver was like, this got to wrap up. We got to get answers on this. And we know nothing else about it. But the other part is, let me just reiterate this. Thank you, Pat Riley, because I don't think Kawhi right now is realistic anyway to get traded. So I get it. Like, I come out of the gate swinging. I'm like, F Kawhi Leonard. Why wouldn't you want to sign an extension in Miami? But we were very close. Maybe a Jimmy Haslam sway move away from Giannis Antetokounmpo going to the Boston Celtics. And if that was the case, we'd be having conversations about plan Bs with no Giannis. And Kawhi would have been a part of that plan B conversation. Kevin Durant would have been a part of that plan B conversation. John Morant would have been part of that plan B conversation. Well, Kawhi, you were second fiddle in Miami anyway. So you don't want to come here? Screw you. We're not interested in you now. So it's not you not being interested in Miami. Miami wasn't interested in you, and they got Giannis Antetokounmpo. So thank you to the Godfather, Pat Riley.
And maybe that's why he wouldn't want to sign an extension here, because he knew he was just basically like plan B, but a deflating plan B. It's not a good plan B. It's a deflating plan B. Gelby, that would have been such an interesting situation. Miami strikes out on Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now the Clippers know that their desperation mode, which was pretty high already, involving the Milwaukee Bucks and the Giannis Antetokounmpo trade talks, are even higher now. What would Los Angeles have deemed an acceptable enough trade from Miami to go get Kawhi Leonard? Would it have been a similar package to what the Heat were giving up to Milwaukee? And would the Heat have been so desperate to give up a similar package like they did for? I don't think so either, but you just kind of wonder what the Clippers would be thinking and the leverage that they'd have in that situation if Miami shifted all their focus to Kawhi Leonard. If they trade him, because part of that Jake Fisher report was that the Clippers still feel like they have avenues to fortify their roster and remain in Western Conference contention. And to me, that was the most laughable part of that entire story.
You're not competing with the Thunder or Spurs.
You're not competing with the Thunder. You're not competing with the Spurs. I don't think they're better than the Los Angeles Lakers, considering that they're bringing back Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic is going to be there, and maybe LeBron James ends up staying there if Rich Paul doesn't get him to Miami. Like the idea that the Clippers can still somewhat keep this core alive or keep this roster build alive around Kawhi Leonard and quote-unquote contend in the Western Conference is such a laughable misstep by them that I don't know what they're doing. But what's the market for Kawhi? I don't know. I have no idea, Gelb. Zero idea.
And also, Kawhi is so selective and he's so picky, it makes the market even tougher. But they got to figure out what's going on with that Fugazi tree planting business first, because until you get a final, I'm being serious, until you get a final answer on that, I can't go trade for him.
You think there's going to be a final answer? You think
I don't know.
Investigation is going to be wrapped up anytime soon? I don't.
Windhorst was on ESPN this morning demanding for answers on it. And he said the commissioner was even demanding for answers, which I find funny because he's the freaking commissioner. How about you get a spineless Silver, you coward? You gutless coward, as Solana would say, and you get us some damn answers.
If the commissioner genuinely was demanding answers, I feel like he'd
answers.
have answers by now. Because what's the deal there? They hired, if I remember correctly, Gub, you probably have a better feel for it than I do.
Aspiration or Aspire?
Yeah, Aspiration brand. But they hired an independent firm to go investigate this entire thing, which, by the way, makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we're looking at already 8 to 9 months of this independent investigation going
It's like
on.
a pregnancy.
The commissioner has to have some sort of idea of where that investigation's at, where it's trending to. It's not like he doesn't talk to the people who are investigating to find out if there's any sort of update. He has to have some sort of knowledge of where this is going to end up. And I don't know, man. I watched Pablo Torre's multiple part episodes on this entire thing. I feel like we all know where this is going.
Yeah.
Everybody was in cahoots with one another to get Kawhi Leonard paid under the table.
Well, that's the thing. They're trying to find a way how they could spin it so they don't have to kick Kawhi out of the league or Steve Ballmer out of the league. And that's the crisis management part that's taking 8 to 9 months. All right, it's Hochman, Crowder, and Solana. Let's get to headlines quickly before we get to Mario Chalmers coming up at 2:25.
Do you know, Gelb, that I am the world's foremost Mario Chalmers fan? Like,
yes.
Are you aware of this?
So you guys don't think I do my homework? I do more homework than any fill-in host in the history of QAM. Last night, I was watching an old interview of Hochman, Crowder, and Solana with Mario Chalmers, where you guys were all calling him Rio. And Solana, you look like you're 15 years old in this clip. You have aged, my friend.
I have aged. I absolutely have. Gelby, I have for years championed two things about Mario Chalmers. One, his jersey should be retired, should be hanging in the rafters at the Kaseya Center. And I know what everybody's going to say. Solana, don't be crazy. Look at the names up there. Tim Hardaway, Alonzo Mourning, Shaquille O'Neal, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, Udonis Haslem. These are all legends. And sure, Mario Chalmers perhaps doesn't necessarily fit the bill when you look at all the other names up there. LeBron James will be up there as well. But I think I have a strong case for it. Two-time NBA champion with the team, was the first rookie in Heat history to start all 82 games as a member of the Miami Heat franchise. And he won 2 titles as a starting point guard for the team. I feel like he deserves some respect. And on top of that, Gelby, I want him to go up there as number 6 because I maintain he's the greatest number 6 in the history of the Miami Heat organization.
I wonder what LeBron would say. We're trying to get LeBron back to Miami. Maybe you lay off the jabs at LeBron until he rejects the Heat.
Yeah, that's a good call. Your headlines are sponsored by Doral Volkswagen, home of the Pricito, our lowest price. Visit us at Doral Volkswagen or at DoralVolkswagen.com. Where do you want to start here, Gallup? I'll give you the option to pick here because obviously locally we had the Miami Heat trading up for a second-round pick yesterday. They've signed some guys that were undrafted as well. Everybody's very hyped about Ryan Conwell, who they traded up for at number 37. But the trade in the NBA today, LaMelo Ball going to Minnesota, I think is the biggest news of the day. And I'm shocked by that news. I'm shocked on both sides that the Hornets actually did it. And I commend them for doing it because I think LaMelo Ball isn't a championship winning player, even though he's exciting and he's got a big brand. And I commend the Minnesota Timberwolves for constantly just trying things.
Yeah.
Like they go for it. It doesn't work, but they go for it. So I commend them on that front. But a first-round pick plus a very high-quality player, Naz Reid, for LaMelo Ball to pair him up with Anthony Edwards, like that's the move that you make after shipping out Cat, after shipping out Julius Randle, LaMelo, and now Rudy Gobert with McDaniels. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to feel.
Seems like a fun
this.
TikTok team. Seems like a fun Instagram team. They'll be enjoyable to watch, but they're not going to win anything. But you got to remember, they're Minnesota. They're not Miami. They're not New York. They're not Boston. For them to get people there, they got to be a little extra creative so they can't go swing for the ideal person to get them, into freezing cold like Minnesota.
All right. Well, that happened today. And we were on Kobe White watch because I think a lot of people were maybe
I made Kobe White's career.
You made Kobe White's career. I can't wait to hear this.
I'm at the draft.
Mm-hmm.
You know the wow moment?
Yeah.
I was the one that asked the question. Last question at Kobe White's draft availability. I saw Cam Johnson on the monitor got drafted, and that was the back and forth of me and him in the wow. If it wasn't for that, no one would know who Kobe White is.
I didn't know that was you.
Yeah.
I did not know that was you. Gelby does do his homework. He's insufferable with the Knicks, but he does do his damn homework.
Well, go New York, go.
He signed a 3-year, $74 million deal to return to the Charlotte Hornets, according to Shams Charania. So,
also, I got to kill Jimmy later in the show. I love Jimmy. He goes with the Panthers celebration earlier in the week, wearing the Panthers gear, then the Heat celebration with Giannis, now wearing 4 bananas on him right now with the Savannah Bananas. Oh, we'll get into that later because I know we got to get to Mario.
Yeah, I don't get the Savannah Banana stuff at all, man. At all. Man, there's just so much going on. Jaylen Brown is reportedly still being shopped. The Florida Panthers made a trade today as well. Yeah, there's a lot going on. And USA plays in the World Cup today, their final group stage game. They've won their group already. So I'm expecting a lot of players to be rested, but they're going to play Turkey tonight, 10 p.m. Paraguay, Australia will play at 10 p.m. today as well. You've got World Cup games all day, all night, starting at 4 and then at 7 as well. Your weather in South Florida right now, it is 90 degrees, Gelby, 91 actually. Tonight, the lows, they'll be in the low 80s. That's brought to you by Tornado Roofing and Contracting, helping homeowners stay safe this storm season. Visit tornadoroofing.com for a free roof and window estimate.
Mario Chalmers, the two-time NBA champion with your Miami Heat's going to join us next. We'll get his thoughts on the Giannis Antetokounmpo trade, and also, could former Miami Heat star LeBron James be taking his talents back to South Beach? Maybe Mario Chalmers will give us a little insight when we return. Hochman, Crowder, and Solana. Zach Gelbin for Hawk on this Thursday. Back in a bit.
You're listening to the Hawk, Crowder, and Solana Show.
My prostate's the size of a bagel.
Go.
says she's no good.
Alrighty, welcome back in. It is Hochman, Crowder, and Solana. Zach Gelb here with you. So Solana, we're waiting on Mario Chalmers. Hopefully we'll connect with him soon. We'll do a ton of Heat today. We'll do a ton of Panthers. The LeBron rumors, they continue to get louder and louder. I think we kind of started them with Ira the day after the trade because we were right on the forefront of that. Then we saw LeBron's post the other day about Giannis, and now even Rich Paul is entering the fold, basically saying, and this gets spun many different ways, it's very ambiguous, that the Heat aren't done yet. And I could look at that and say, oh, well, maybe he's talking about LeBron. Or I could also look at it and go, well, yeah, no crap, they're not done yet. That's a logical statement because they need to add a whole lot more to this team.
It's not even that, though, Gelby. It's the fact that Rich Paul is breaking down the Heat roster name by name, and he clearly knows everybody's name, their first names. He's pronouncing the names correctly. And, he's done his homework. By the way, I know he's Rich Paul. I know he's an NBA agent. He's also hosting a podcast with Max Kellerman. So, yeah, it's not shocking that he knows players' names like everybody does. But I don't know. There's something there to me that tells me, at the very least, Rich Paul has dug into the idea of, hey, here's what your roster would look like, Bron, if you were to go down there and team up with Giannis, and if you were to go down there and team up with Bam Adebayo, here are the names. Here's kind of a semblance of what it could look like there. Because, bro, I mean, he's locked in. He's locked into the Heat roster, man. 100%.
So I was watching Windhorse, I told you this morning, on ESPN, and he was going through like a multitude with like Evan Cohen and Chris Canty and Michelle, and they were going through like a multitude of options for NBA free agents this year. And when he got to LeBron, he said this is what he think will happen with LeBron and the Lakers. He said it's still a likelihood that LeBron will go to the Lakers. But either they're going to go to him from the start and say, LeBron, this is what we're willing to pay. You either take it and then we go explore and get our guys that we want to try to go commit the other money to, or they go explore, get their guys with free agency coming up on June 30th, and then go back to LeBron and whatever money they have remaining, get LeBron to take what that number is. I think LeBron still prefers to go back to LA, but I think that game is risky where LeBron's feelings can get hurt. And then if it's not LA, they're going to go to Cleveland. And we talked about this yesterday inside the Odyssey family. Like Nick Wilson does a show out there on the Fan in Cleveland. He was saying, I don't want to trade Jared Allen to go get LeBron because he's 28.
Yeah, it's so funny saying that. I'm not trading Jared Allen for LeBron James. But, like, you just have to look at the roster construction. You have to look at the timeline that the Cavs are on. I mean, they're sacrificing their timeline and, in my opinion, the best part of their team, which is their front court in Evan Mobley and Jared Allen.
Oh, now Solana's Mr. Front Court guy because of Bam and Giannis. I know how this is. We're going to hear about all these front courts.
I thought you were going to crush me because I was flat out crushing Jalen Brunson, saying Donovan Mitchell was the best player in that series. And now I've turned my focus to the front court of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
You bring up the Knicks more than I bring up the Knicks.
Oh, I'm in shambles. I mean,
they're in your
rent-free in my head.
Jeez.
Rent-free, bro. I am in shambles. You think I was joking about that whole Knicks stuff? Like, for you, this is all just one big bit, one big joke. You don't really care. See, for me, it didn't matter. I didn't want the Knicks to win. I was being serious. Like, I was rooting hard against the New York Knicks. I would have been happier with the Knicks losing in the NBA Finals than I think the Miami Heat winning a playoff series last year. Like, yeah, I mean, I was serious about it. But, Gelby, they're going to sacrifice, the Cavs are going to sacrifice their timeline for LeBron's retirement tour. It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. And
it seems like a team that's not serious about winning a championship. And I know that you could say you bring back LeBron, you improve your championship chances. But if you're going to get rid of, I don't think it would be Mobley. Like, that would be stupid. No. But if you're going to get rid of a Mobley or an Allen, and Allen's only 28 years old, for 1 year of LeBron, like, it'd be different if you had 4 years of LeBron. Like, if you had a LeBron 4 years, like how he gave the Heat 4 years, okay, I could live with that, because then by the end of it, Allen would be 31, 32. But for 1 year of LeBron, I don't think the Cavs then all of a sudden that's like the difference maker to win a championship. Maybe they get to the NBA Finals. Like, maybe if you get the right breaks, like if the Knicks suffer an injury, the Pistons take a step back, Jaylen Brown gets traded. Like, it's not inconceivable, but I still think it's unlikely, with or without LeBron, that the Cavs get to an NBA Finals.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. It just doesn't make sense to me that they'd be willing to make that move to bring LeBron in. And Gelby, going back to the Lakers, LeBron is going to play for a team that he's making less than Austin Rivers and Luka Doncic. I don't know. I understand where he's at in his career. I understand why the Lakers had to do what they had to do with Austin Reeves. It's just hard for me to fathom that that's what the situation is going to be, and he's going to be fine with it.
By the way, Mario Chalmers right now, the two-time NBA champion, also won a national championship with Kansas, joins us on the Toyota of Hollywood hotline. Shop over 2,000 Toyotas on sale at one location, Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan, toyotaofhollywood.com. And let me remind you that Mario Chalmers is now a player captain of the Miami 305 team for the Big Three and the premier global professional 3-on-3 basketball league that began its 9th season last Saturday at the Intuit Dome in LA. And tickets, by the way, for the Big Three event coming up at Emirate Bank Arena on July 5th are currently on sale. Visit big3.com to purchase tickets. Mario Chalmers, appreciate the time. How are you?
No problem, man. How you doing?
Well, we're doing great, and we appreciate you joining us here on WQAM. Let's get your reaction. You being a Heat legend, a two-time champion here with the organization, Giannis Antetokounmpo, unofficially coming to Miami when you saw the trade the other day. What was your reaction to the deal?
I liked it. I think it's a good pickup. Pat is always going to do something to make a splash in Miami. He's always did that his whole career. So bringing Giannis is down, partner him with Bam, I think that's a very good partnership, very good duo. And then you got Wiggs still there. So they're developing a nice little defensive team that, that's what the Heat culture is. They're based on defense. So they add shooting. They're going to be a tough team to beat in the East.
You got anything left in the tank, Rio? You can come run the pick and roll with Giannis and Bam Adebayo, spot up three. I mean, that's what they need.
That's exactly what they need. I'm not going to lie. I got up this morning and ran 3 miles, so I'm going to send a text message to Pat Riley, see if I can still get in there a little bit, see what's happening.
Do you understand, like, you were talking to Alejandro Solana, who works for the Heat Radio Network. He is a sycophant of yours. Like, if you ever thought you had a stalker, it was probably Solana. He wants your number in the rafters, and he actually thinks they should hang 6 in the rafters because he says you're the greatest 6 in the history of the Heat organization.
6 and 15, Rio. I mean, let's do it. I'm championing that effort, man. I'm on your behalf, just so you know.
Hey, I would never tell you no, and I would never disagree with that. I definitely like to see 15 up there for sure, but, it's all good love.
So you wore 6 before LeBron got here, and then you gave him the number 6. What do you recall, watching the decision when you found out LeBron was taking his talents to South Beach?
I just remember that summer I had popped 2 ligaments in my ankle, so I was actually on crutches, laid up in the bed and with my foot up, and when he was making his decision, and I just thought about, just me that was my 3rd year in the league and having a chance to, fight for the finals, knowing on paper, seeing that team with D-Wade and Bron at first before CB had made his decision. I was just ready to go. My main focus was just get healthy and try to figure out how I could be a part of this team and help this team out.
Mario Chalmers here with us. You know how this sport works. Once a move is made, people try to figure out the next move. Giannis coming to Miami. Now everyone's wondering what could be next that Pat Riley has up his sleeve. There's been some speculation about maybe LeBron making a triumphant return to the 305. Can you see maybe LeBron coming on back and ending his career with the Heat?
I can see him coming back. It'd definitely be a good opportunity just because the players he has around him with Giannis and Bam. You can actually get Bronny some real good minutes at the point guard and keep developing him and let him learn from other guys. So I think it's a great move, and I think that would be a good move, but it won't be the best move as far as like with the team that's already based. Y'all need more shooting. Names that I've been hearing is like a Klay Thompson. I really like that name, a Buddy Hield. Just guys that can help keep the defense honest and not crowd the paint with Giannis and Bam.
Rio, you obviously spent a lot of time with Coach Spo down here. You saw him when he was a rookie head coach and then kind of saw him transform into, one of the more well-respected coaches in the NBA. What do you think his week has been like since the Miami Heat got word that Giannis Antetokounmpo is being traded to Miami? Like, he's probably just been in the film room, right? Just looking up different ways that he can start scheming Giannis and Bam together on the floor.
He definitely probably already did that since the beginning of summer started. So I'm sure Spo's always a worker. He's going to figure out things. Just like he came back with our spread offense, he created more space for Bron and D Wade and kind of get them in post. So Spo's always going to figure out something to recreate the offense and make them guys show the best of their abilities in the offense. And Spo's been great at that. He's got better since my rookie year. So it's great to see that. All the years that he's been in the coaching and all the good players he's had, he's still learning different things and he's still willing to get better.
We haven't talked to you we didn't talk to you this season on this show, Rio. What was your take on Bam Adebayo scoring 83 points? I don't know if you watched the game live or if you ended up watching the highlights or whatever, but were there any strong takeaways from you watching, what was one of the craziest nights ever in that building?
It was definitely a crazy night. I seen the highlights of that game, and regardless of anything, you can't take anything away from a player scoring 83 points, especially Bam. To get 83 points, you got to do something 20 to 30 times in a game, and he was able to do that. Whether fans like it or whether people like it or not, you got to respect it. And I definitely take my hat off and respect the way that he came out and played that day.
Mario Chalmers here with us. You understand the business side of it. You know what that relationship is like as a player to Pat Riley. Pat was getting a lot of criticism the last few years for swinging and missing on bringing big stars in. Now getting Giannis, was that like a little extra special to you to see Pat now getting talked about the way that he should be getting talked about with all he's done for the game?
I definitely was happy to see that Pat got that. Even my words got misconstrued when I did the thing with Chandler Parsons and them saying that Pat should let go of the reins. I wasn't saying that. I was just saying, like, he's got to loosen up a little bit and kind of realize that, the generation is changing and it's evolving and players have more say-so. And he proved that, he's one of the greatest GMs, greatest presidents out here and get another superstar in Giannis. So he's proving everybody wrong once again, and that's what he's been known for throughout his time.
Heat culture is such a big thing, but you're right. Like, you got to eventually advance that, and the league is now so different than what it was 10 years ago. Do you still think the principles of Heat culture still exist in this organization, or is it just totally a different era than what you guys did all those years ago?
No, I think the structure is still there. That's one thing about the Heat structure, the Heat organization. Is like they're never going to veer away from the structure. That's what got us there. That's what's been successful for all these years. So, it works. The game plan works. You just got to find players that are willing to adapt to that game plan and be a part of that game plan. And with Giannis, I think that's a perfect start. I mean, after you got Bam, I think Giannis is the perfect newcomer to start that Heat tradition, that Heat culture back up.
Hey, Rio, you just mentioned, some of your words got misconstrued when you were doing that other show. And I remember during March Madness, you said something when you were on, I think, Bleacher Report, and you said that winning the NBA Finals was easier than winning the NCAA tournament. And, man, you got crushed for that. And I just wonder a couple of months later if you had a change of heart over that, because I think I understood what you were saying. Like, NCAA tournament, you lose one game, you're
one and done. Yeah,
right.
And the one and done.
Right, the NBA Finals, you get that best of 7 series multiple times to get there. Were you shocked at kind of the pushback that the Twitter and Instagram comments were giving you?
Kind of, but I'm never shocked about somebody's opinion that's never been there before. So that's where it's kind of like, okay, as fans, I understand what y'all think, but if you think of the reality of it, you go play one game, and if you lose that game, the other 33 games that you played before that doesn't matter. You're going home. In the NBA, you play game one of the first round, you lose game one. Okay, now we gotta win 4 more. They gotta win 3 more. Like, it's still an opportunity, still a chance. So the reality of it is not easier per se, it's more chances.
None of them ever tied the game at 63 with 2.1 seconds left to go in the championship game, right, Rio? None of them have ever done that.
Wrap it up with Mario Chalmers, talking about the big three in just a second. What's your relationship like to this day? Like, I saw LeBron got back with all of his old Cavs teammates, but you being a Heat guy, LeBron being here for 4 years, just what's your relationship like with LeBron to this day? Just curious.
Honestly, I haven't talked to LeBron in forever. I mean, there's no bad blood between us. It's just we don't really cross paths. We haven't seen each other, so I'm pretty sure we see each other. We'll speak, reminisce about old times. But I mean, there's definitely no bad blood between us.
You ultimately think he wraps up his career in LA? You know, I know we threw out the Heat. The Cavs reunion for one final dance has been talked about. Like, how do you see this actually envisioning how it plays out, how he ends his career?
I see him. I would like to see him do probably a farewell tour with Cleveland, just because of what he's meant to that city, what he's done for that city. That's kind of his hometown, pretty much, basically. But it's hard to say. I mean, he's won a championship at all three organizations. He did tremendous things at all three places. So I think you got to kind of look at it like who can give him the best farewell, and I think that'd probably be Cleveland.
Speaking of farewells, Rio, I don't know if going back a couple of years ago, you watched like The Last Dance with Michael Jordan. I know you've said many times LeBron's the greatest player ever, but Michael Jordan's your GOAT.
Right.
If you know, we're approaching now over a decade, well over a decade, that the big three, you were part of that entire run here in Miami. It was something special, something unique. It was something that the NBA had really never seen before. Do you think there will be a documentary made on the big three? And if there was, would you want to take part in it to kind of tell your side of those 4 years and just the chaos of it all?
Oh, definitely. I definitely think we're going to have I always call it a 30 for 30 moment. So I think we'll have ours, and I would definitely want to be a part of it. You know, just reliving those good times, reliving the bad times of losing to Mavericks, and just be around those old teammates again, those old guys that you don't really get to see on an everyday basis. So it'd definitely be a lot of fun to reminisce and be around those guys again.
Ultimately, why do you think LeBron left Miami? Like, there's obviously so much speculation about him and Pat and all that stuff that's been talked about through the years, but LeBron went back to Cleveland for what reason in your mind?
In my mind, I know Bron's ultimate goal was to win a championship in Cleveland. I think he originally left Cleveland to learn what it really takes to win a championship and how it comes together to win a championship. And I think once he learned that from Pat Riley and being around D Wade and that team that we had, it kind of made him a better leader and more prepared to go lead a team to win a championship. And I think it was just a goal of his that he wanted to fulfill. Like, we all have childhood dreams. Of course, making it to the NBA's one, winning a championship, winning 2 championships, winning a national championship. But being able to have a chance to win a championship in your hometown, the city that had a lot of drought, a lot of losses when it came to championships in sports. So it was just the ultimate time to give back, the ultimate chance to give back, I should say.
And by the way, go ahead, Solana.
Rio, I just want to follow up on that, Go, because Rio, one thing we hear a lot down here, and again, like I work with the broadcast, it's that first year you guys lose to Dallas. One thing we hear a lot is, not you, but the team needed to lose that one to learn how to win as a unit. Do you buy into that narrative? That, you know, losing that first one was why you guys went off to rattle off 2 NBA titles back to back? Or was that just an overall series that you guys probably could have won and you could have won 3 straight?
I'll give you the real. I think it was needed, not per se for us to learn, but to define more roles. As far as like when you bring in that many new guys together, that good of a nucleus led by Bron, D Wade, CB, who are all all-stars and predominant players coming from their teams. And you add people like Mike Miller, who was a great player at Memphis, a great player wherever he came from. Shane, who's at Houston. You had me, who's still a young guy in the league, still trying to find his way. And then you had Spo, who was still a young coach, who was still trying to figure out how to get the best of his players and the most of his players. So I think that loss gave everybody a reality check of what can they do to make themselves better in the team situation. And it just made everybody look at individuals and then come back better together as a whole.
Well, my take, Rio, is you should have been starting that entire NBA Finals series. Real ones remember who scored 18 points in Game 6 in Miami. That's all. Real ones remember, Rio.
I remember that too, but Mike Bibby was the leading point guard at that time. I learned a lot from Bibby at that, so you got to take your chances and learn. It worked out perfectly. I started the next year and we won. So hey, you gotta wait your turn sometimes.
By the way, I know this is like asking someone like a dad who's their favorite child, but who was your favorite teammate when you played here in Miami?
During the championship run or just period?
You could go period.
Overall period, I'd probably say between Jermaine O'Neal, UD, and D-Wade.
By the way, you could buy tickets for the Big Three's July 5th event at Emirates Bank Arena, and they're currently on sale. Visit big3.com to purchase tickets. That was some fight the other weekend in the Big Three. What did you make of that?
It's been a long winter. A lot of people are anxious to play some basketball, and I think emotions just got too carried away.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I've been to a Big Three event before. They're awesome. It's been a fun little venture that you guys have been on, right?
Oh, it's definitely been a lot of fun. Don't let one game last Sunday kind of deter you away from watching the Big Three. It's always a lot of fun. It's very competitive. And you get to see some of your favorite players that you got to see back in the day play now and see what they can do still.
How you get up the ante? You get to punch someone next?
Nah, I'm good. I just want to shoot me a couple threes and wait for the game winner. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to hit more game winners this year.
Well, good to hear from you. We appreciate you giving us a few minutes, and enjoy the rest of the week and enjoy the rest of the Big Three schedule. Thanks so much for doing that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Rio.
There you go. Right. Mario Chalmers joining us right here on 104.3 FM WQM. We'll be back shortly on Hochman, Crowder, and Solana.
You're listening to the Hawk, Crowder, and Solana Show.
Tighten your ass up, Whale.
All righty, welcome back in. It's Hochman, Crowder, and Solana. Zach Gelbin for Hawk. Alejandro Solana obviously here with us on that Thursday. And Solana, good chat there with Mario Chalmers, who just joined us on the other side. It seemed like he was somewhat interested in a reunion with LeBron James, but he thinks it's rather unlikely. And it's funny, you got Danny Green, who played with LeBron in Cleveland and LA, who joined us a few weeks ago. And then Mario Chalmers, who I guess hasn't talked to LeBron in quite some time, as he made clear in that conversation. But he won 2 championships with LeBron, and both of them kind of said, yeah, it would be fitting. It would be best if he did end his career with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Which, by the way, I think most people feel that way, by the way. If LeBron was going to go anywhere, I think most people feel like the storybook ending is him going back to Cleveland and ending his illustrious career where it all began with that fan base. So I get it, by the way, Gel, but I bet you LeBron probably feels that way also, by the way. Like, I bet you for LeBron, the storybook ending, the picture-perfect ending would be going back to Cleveland and competing there and maybe getting back to the finals, and who knows, right? Like winning another NBA title with the Cavs, whether he's the 1, the 2, the 3, whatever. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the best situation for him currently, which is why I think anything's kind of on the table right now. Can you see him going to a team he's never played for yet, though?
Yeah, one. The Warriors.
Right. That's the only one. Yeah, we've talked about it. It's the only one that we all kind of agree would make sense.
Yeah, I think the Warriors could be a possibility, like a small possibility. I think it really goes the decision with the Lakers first, then into will it be Cleveland, and then if not Cleveland, then Miami becomes enticing. And that wouldn't have been the case a week and a half ago, but getting Giannis, no doubt about it, changes everything, where now we could even dream of the possibility of LeBron coming on back. Even if it isn't the greatest fit in the world, you would take LeBron handling the ball with Bam and Giannis down low.
It's 305. Dale.
God bless.
Dale.
Dale.
Thank you, Jimmy.
You're welcome.
You got it. It's the 305 alarm, and it's sponsored by Miami Lake Chevrolet, where you walk in as a customer and drive out as family. I got to bring this up to you, Solana.
All right.
And I don't want you to be offended, okay? You got to promise me. Man-to-man talking here. You can't be offended.
Not making any promises, Gelby.
Come on.
Not making any promises.
We're men here. We could be honest, right? We don't lie to one another, right?
All right. I'm not making any promises, and maybe I'll be offended. I'm not gonna lie.
So my mom listens a lot, and she watches whenever I'm hosting a show.
Right.
And it's rare I hear from her because she knows, like, let me say what I'm going to say, like, cross whatever line I'm going to cross, do the show the way that I do the show. But she gets very intrigued with the people I work with because I've usually done a lot of solo radio. So when I'm working with co-hosts, it's newer for her, and there's new people that are introduced into her life. So my mom calls me up last night. She goes, I was watching the show the other day. I go, what do you think about the people I'm working with? Because I know she always likes to talk about that. She goes, Channing Crowder. What do you think her read was on Channing?
Funny guy, big personality, former athlete.
I don't even know if it dawned on my mother that Channing plays in the NFL or like played in the. I don't think she has any clue.
Right.
She said intelligent. She thought Channing was very intelligent while watching us on Hochman, Crowder, and Solana.
All right.
I was like, you should try to see him get to the reads on time. I
That's
don't know how intelligent he actually is.
That's a choice. That's interesting to me. All right.
Then she brought up Jimmy. And she doesn't understand the role of Jimmy just watching it, but she sees Jimmy on the YouTube chat. She goes, why don't you let that guy speak? So she was annoyed with me that we weren't letting Jimmy speak.
Well, by any chance, did she happen to hear Jimmy's Marlins update yesterday when we gave him the opportunity to speak?
Ball hit in the outfield, caught.
Player
Marlins up by a run.
Player at batter at plate, and pitcher will pitch the ball to him now.
Then she goes, and this is the part that you're gonna
Yeah.
I think get offended by.
It's all right. I can't get mad at anybody's mom, so it's okay. Lay it on me, Gelb.
She goes, and then there was that nerdy guy that calls you Gelby the entire show. And all I could think about in the Mario Chalmers interview was that conversation with my mom, because you Rio'd him.
I
Rio'd him.
I Rio'd the hell
him.
out of him. Yeah.
If I had $1 for every time you said Rio in that interview, I think I would have $15, which would be $15 more than Jim Larinaga gets for appearing on our station each and every week.
Somebody texted in. How many times did Solana say Rio during that segment?
Rio, tell me about the shot you hit for Kansas, and then how you're 6 and you're 15 should be hanging in the rafters. Rio, tell me what it was like to be on the Heat, and then you're 18 points. Rio.
Gelby, don't get mad that me and Rio, we have a connection. Don't get mad that Rio liked me more than he liked you. Don't get upset, but it's okay.
You could have it.
It's okay to your mom. I respect that. Not the first time I've been called nerdy. I embrace it. I mean, that's who I am. I did overuse Rio in the last segment.
Oh,
you
my
did.
God. You know what I think that is, though?
That's my guy, though, man.
But this is what I appreciate. You're a true fan, and you've not been fazed by the business, and it hasn't gotten old for you, that you genuinely talking to Mario Chalmers is like the coolest thing in the world. So I think that's like a nervous excitement when you say Rio 4,000 times in a 10-minute conversation.
Do you understand that growing up, Mario Chalmers, I was going to bat for that dude. I mean, the way nowadays, Gelby, people remember Mario Chalmers. Most of them, they remember the good stuff about Mario Chalmers. Everybody seems to kind of love Mario Chalmers around here. But during the Big Three era, I mean, there was just so much like chaos and attention on Miami that every game was under this big microscope. And every time the Heat lost, there was somebody being traded, somebody to blame. There was somebody that didn't fit next to LeBron. I mean, shoot, I remember at one point people talking about the Heat needing to trade Dwayne Wade after they lost that final because it just wasn't going to work. And for whatever reason, Mario Chalmers became the victim of so much scrutiny while playing with the Big Three because, he's not a superstar. Like, he wasn't. But he was a damn good point guard. I went to bat for Rio year after year after year. Now people appreciate him. Now people remember all the good stuff about it. So, I take a little bit of pride in that. I'm not going to lie about it. I take a little bit of pride in the fact that I knew ball even back in my old days. He was a damn good point guard here, and he was a perfect complementary point guard next to the Big Three.
I think it just shows how crazy the Big Three were from a coverage standpoint. And LeBron, who I know LeBron's team at the time didn't want to do the decision. That was a LeBron thing. And like Leon Rose, there's no way Leon Rose, who doesn't speak to the media now, ever wanted to do that decision. Now, in theory, like, it benefited the Boys and Girls Club. Like, it was for a good cause. But leaving in that fashion made LeBron an absolute villain for a 4-year run before he went back to Cleveland, won the championship, and all that is forgiven. But that started such a storm where anything short of winning a championship was not only a disaster, it was an unmitigated disaster. And do you remember the Saturday Night Live skit with Stephen A. Smith when he was like, in the fourth quarter, and then he's like, Mario Chalmers should be nowhere near the basketball. Like, that skit was great. And then he did like an Edward Scissorhands like thing too. Those Saturday Night Live skits when Saturday Night Live was actually good, that was one of my favorite ones ever.
Gelb, those 4 years, I'm telling you as somebody who was down here experiencing it and like engulfed in the entire thing, those 4 years will never be replicated anywhere. I don't care what superstar tandem teams up elsewhere in the future. It'll never happen again because it wasn't just the fact that LeBron James did the decision and then the three of them got up on the stage and LeBron said not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. It wasn't even that. It was just that every single stadium they walked into, they were the enemy for 4 years. They were booed in every stadium for 4 years. And that was like 2010 to 2014. Social media was obviously a thing, but over those 4 years, it became something else. And the big three was like the one massive story in the United States for that like coming of age of social media where it turned into the behemoth that it became. And they were constantly the focus for those 4 years. It was unlike anything we'll ever experience ever again. The best 4 years of any Miami sports fan, without a doubt.
And you know what also made it fun? And I know that the Heat fans going to be like, what are you talking about? They lost. But like the Warriors, when they got KD, we knew the outcome. It was like, why even watch the games? You had a team that won 73 games. Then they were up 3-1 in the finals. They lose. Draymond begs Kevin Durant to go. Durant goes there. And it's just, you couldn't beat that team with Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and Draymond Green until you just had everyone get injured with Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant. The Heat forming together and losing in that first year, that showed that they were vulnerable, and it wasn't just sealed, signed, and delivered. They were going to win a championship. And then how close they came to losing the second year before Ray Allen bails them out with that shot. And then you followed it up, or you had the Thunder, the second year. And then they could have lost that third year with the Ray Allen shot and then losing to the Spurs. It wasn't a foregone conclusion that they were going to win every year. And it made it fun because just to hate is one thing. But when you get that hatred and then you don't win it, like that made them even more popular because the people that hated got even louder, and then they had to fall on the sword for a 2-year stretch.
I asked Rio that question, by the way. It's something that we've debated on this show time and time again because I just think it's patently absurd that the Miami Heat had to lose that 2011 championship to learn how to win. I liked how Rio said it. It helped them define their roles a little bit better, which is something we've heard from Dwayne Wade and LeBron too, where Wade had to tell LeBron, yo, go. You're the best player in the world. Go be the best player in the world. You don't have to defer to me. I'm fine allowing you to be LeBron James. But, Gelby, the reality is they should have won that series. They're up. First of all, they win game 1. They dominate in game 1. In game 2, they're up 15 points with 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. I was at the game. I remember the entire situation, and they just pooped themselves the final 5 minutes of the game. And they still had a 2-1 series lead because they go to Dallas and they win game 3. They should have won that series if LeBron James plays like LeBron James or even just plays to his averages. He averaged 4 points in the fourth quarters of all those games in the NBA Finals. Like, they didn't need to lose that series to figure out how to win. The best player in the world just shrunk and didn't play like the best player in the world. They could have had 3 titles in the first 3 years.
Yeah, and here's the part that I never got. And I get it. Wade won the championship with Shaq. Wade was here. It was Wade County then. But LeBron was already the face of the sport. Like when he got to Miami, I understand the dynamics of, it was Wade's team, but you're the best player. How that was actually a thing where LeBron was sensitive a little bit to Wade and it was being a good dude in taking into account how D Wade approached it, how maybe D Wade would feel. Maybe it's because they were draft class partners since 2003 and they were friendly. But I always thought that dynamic where LeBron, no offense to D Wade's a legend. He's the most important player in the history of the Miami Heat organization. But like LeBron going on a team, you're not second fiddle to anybody.
The only person that could rival LeBron when he joined Miami in terms of being the face of the NBA at that moment was Kobe Bryant. It was the only other person who could do it. By the way, Gelby.
But remember, Kobe, did he have that? Yeah, no, he won another championship, right? Because
they won in 09 and 10.
Yeah, and then LeBron came after that.
LeBron comes here, and if you remember, the Lakers end up building like their own mini version of a super team out in LA.
Yeah.
Because Steve Nash goes there, Dwight Howard signs there as well. So you had like this idea that it was going to be Kobe and LeBron in the finals, which, by the way, just as basketball fans, we were all robbed of Kobe and LeBron ever facing off in an NBA title to go up against each other in an NBA title. That would have been scenes. Like that would have been maybe the most watched finals of all time. But Gelby, don't forget that. And yes, I do this. Now I'm noticing that I keep calling you Gelby.
Gelby, Rio.
Jimmy. I got a tick. I gotta work on this. I gotta hammer it out.
Just like how you were nervous to be around Mario Chalmers. You're nervous to be around me. I get
nervous. I love it. Like that's been very well documented on this show. I'm the world's biggest Mario Chalmers fan, and anytime I talk to him, he geeked up about it. I wasn't nervous.
By the way,
loved talking to him.
I just also want to point this out. I told my mother to shut her mouth because I don't like her referring to you as a nerd. I don't think you're nerdy.
I'm pretty nerdy, bro.
No,
maybe you haven't been around me.
I say something nice to you, and you're ungrateful.
He can be, but he knows a lot.
Oh, thanks, Jimmy. Yeah, appreciate
the pot
that.
calling the kettle black right there with Jimbo.
Thanks for having my back there. The guy wearing the Savannah Bananas hat and the Savannah Bananas t-shirt. Talk about nerd. Gelby, don't forget that the Miami Heat lose that finals, and the following year they're down 3-2 in the Eastern Conference Finals, having to go back to Boston.
Yeah. And LeBron had that massive Game 6.
If he doesn't have that massive Game 6 and they don't win that Game 7, who knows how it all ends up? Who knows? Maybe they do trade Chris Bosh. Maybe they do trade
Dwayne Wade's in Chicago.
I mean, genuinely, who the F knows, man? It's crazy.
I know we got to get to headlines. Just there's a Darko Milicic. It's not a 30 for 30, but it's I guess there's a secondary series for 30 for 30. That draft class, LeBron 1, Darko 2, Carmelo 3, Chris Bosh 4, Dwayne Wade 5. Oh, man. Darko Milicic. Woof.
Crazy, right?
That's a tough one to swallow those years later.
You think about the Pistons, they won the title the following year.
Yeah.
They had traded for Rasheed Wallace. Had they just drafted Carmelo Anthony, that team that went to the Eastern Conference Finals, I think it's 5 straight years because they were there in 03, 04, 05, 06, and 07. Had they drafted Carmelo Anthony, we could literally look at Carmelo's career totally different had he been on that team with Rip and Tayshaun and Sheed and Ben Wallace and Chauncey Billups. It's funny, man. It's funny how like that one decision can change the course of history.
3 other names that are just like funny to look back on from that draft. 7th overall pick, Kirk Heinrich. 8th overall pick, TJ Ford. And then your favorite player in the history of the NBA went 27th. Do you know who that is?
My favorite player in the history of the NBA.
You love this guy. Big fan of his.
No clue. Al Horford?
Kendrick Perkins.
Oh, Kendrick Perkins. What?
Leandro Barbosa was 28th there. How about that?
Yeah. You know who went 6 was Chris Kaman. And there's this whole story about how Pat Riley wanted the big. He wanted Chris Kaman instead of Dwayne Wade, which has been talked about ad nauseum in Miami. He wanted Dwayne Wade, but Pat Riley historically always liked the bigs. You know, he had always liked drafting a big man. You go back to his time with the Lakers. You go back to the time when he came to Miami with Alonzo Mourning, obviously in New York with Patrick Ewing. There's this big story about how he wanted Chris Kaman over Dwayne Wade and that the powers that be forced him to take Dwayne Wade. I don't actually think that's what ended up happening. I think he ended up really wanting Dwayne Wade as well. But could you imagine had the Miami Heat drafted Chris Kaman over Dwayne Wade? 1 pick later is when Kaman went. How different this organization looks. How different Pat Riley looks as a general manager as well.
Yeah, and who knows if Pat's still even here. And that means that who did Kaman go to? The Clippers?
Yeah, Clippers.
So who knows what would have happened with the career of Dwayne Wade, and LeBron probably never comes to Miami.
It's funny, man.
What if I told you? What do we got for headlines?
Headlines are brought to you by Doral Volkswagen, home of the Pricito, our lowest price. Visit us at Doral Volkswagen or at DoralVolkswagen.com. We touched on this a little bit, Gelb, but the Timberwolves reportedly explored a potential trade for Jaylen Brown and the Boston Celtics before they ultimately pulled the trigger on a trade with the Hornets and LaMelo Ball. If you haven't seen that story today, LaMelo Ball traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves. They sent back to Charlotte a first-round pick, Naz Reid, and then a ton of second-round picks as well.
And a bunch of swaps, too.
A bunch of swaps. The Hornets are stockpiling picks. But it also seems like, based on several reports that I've seen now, that the Boston Celtics basically feel like they have to trade Jaylen Brown now, which is exactly what we all expected to happen. If it came out during the Giannis pursuit that they were actually considering shopping Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, and just a week ago, Windhorst went on his podcast and said he feels that Jaylen Brown is going to be back in Boston. Watching that Windhorst interview that I was talking about earlier this morning, he now says he will not be back in Boston. Like, he is fully convinced that Jaylen Brown is going to get traded. So how life changes and comes at you so fast.
Crazy, right? Crazy. Be careful what you wish for, Jaylen Brown. I've been saying it now for over a month. Be careful what you wish for.
He'll regret it because he's going to go to a team that's not as good as Boston. He's going to be the number one star, and he'll never win a championship again. I don't even know if he'll ever get to an NBA Finals again as the one guy.
No complaints out of me. Hey, the Panthers made a trade today as well, Gelb. They traded with Philadelphia. They acquired Garnett Hathaway in a deal with the Flyers. They sent a 2026 fifth-round pick, a 2027 fourth-round pick to Philly in order to complete the trade. And in return, they got Hathaway, and they're also getting a 2026 sixth-round pick in the deal.
And Hathaway comes with that too, just wondering?
And Hathaway, man. Mount Rushmore of Hathaways. We've got two of them right there. Anne Hathaway, Garnett Hathaway.
And Dougie Plagan's going to join us coming up at 4:25. We'll get his thoughts on these Hellebuck rumors that aren't going away.
Yeah, they're not going away. Tomorrow's the NHL draft, but the Florida Panthers don't have a first-round pick. So I wonder, I know we're doing a draft show. I just wonder, like, what that's like for the Florida Panthers now. I mean, they're sitting pretty with Brady Tkachuk. They had 2 first-round picks. Now they don't. Brady Tkachuk is here. It's the same feel as the Miami Heat, where you're like, who cares? We're okay.
Who's doing the draft show? Do you know?
I believe Doug Plagans. It'll be Doug Plagans.
So
yeah,
it's not Tobin. Oh, say it again, Jimmy. Sorry.
He did that. He did the draft show last year.
Gotcha. So it's not Tobin and Solana, right? Just doing a Brady Tkachuk welcome party, just like they did for Giannis the other night.
I mean, sign me up. Let's go. I'm down to talk a little bit of puck. I'm down to celebrate Brady Tkachuk. Let's go, man.
Yeah, I'm still annoyed with you guys.
We got to do it live from the elbow room.
That
I'd sign up for.
I would fly down for that. But I'm annoyed at you guys. You had like all this great hockey here, and you're going to continue to have all this great hockey. So you got a chance to redeem yourself. You guys got to stay for the games. You got to stay for the game. You can't just do the show and then just bail. That's a bad job out of you guys.
Yeah, I mean, Hawk and Crowder, man. I mean, those guys, they bail. As soon as the broadcast is over, they bail. I hang around, Gelby.
No, you don't. I remember one playoff game. I go, what a game! Like, did you stay? You're like, left 10 minutes before the game started to beat the traffic.
Once the fans start rolling in, you sneak right out the side of and get right onto the turnpike. Super simple.
I want to come down for a Panthers game this year when you guys do the show. And I'll do the show with you guys, and then I want to go to the game in a suite. That's what I want to do.
Well, we don't have the suite anymore.
Oh.
So, yeah, which is also part of the reason why we leave.
How about tickets? Can I get tickets or no?
Yeah, you can get tickets.
Okay.
Yeah.
That I don't have to pay for.
If you're lucky like Jimmy, Hawk will buy you a pizza as well.
Yeah, hell yeah.
A pizza. Hockey pizza in an arena? I don't know about that.
Nah, pizza at Amarant is good, man.
Or Glizzy.
I thought Coach L, by the way, was about to die yesterday when I asked him if he puts pineapple on a pizza. His eyes went to a different planet. I thought we were interviewing Bobby Portis for a second when it was Coach L.
The Miami Heat, they did end up trading up yesterday to pick higher in the second round, and it looks like, based on everything I've seen, Gelby, I don't scout these guys. I really don't watch that much college basketball, so I'm not going to pretend like I know that they got a massive steal here. But based on everything that I've been reading, it seems like everybody feels like the Heat got a massive, massive steal by trading up a couple spots. They sent a heck of a lot of money, $2 million, to the Oklahoma City Thunder to complete that trade, and they drafted Louisville guard Ryan Conwell with the 37th overall pick in the second round yesterday.
And then I also saw that they signed to a 2-way contract Trey Donaldson, who was at Michigan and then wrapped up his collegiate career with Miami. So nice little job there.
Yeah, they're sending a bunch of guys to their summer league debut. Tobin and I actually interviewed Wayne Ellington at the draft party a couple days ago. It's going to be, he's a Heat assistant coach, former Miami Heat player.
He's coaching the summer league team.
Yeah, his first time being the head coach of the Summer League team. Keyshawn Hall, Javon Hadley, Trey White, and, of course, as you mentioned, Trey Donaldson and Ryan Conwell, all the signings yesterday, whether during the draft or after the draft. Your weather in South Florida right now, it is 90 degrees. Tonight, the lows are going to drop into the mid-70s. That's brought to you by Tornado Roofing and Contracting, helping homeowners stay safe this storm season. Visit tornadoroofing.com for a free roof and window estimate.
I have odds. I think we really have pushed this conversation to a point of ridiculousness. I think we started it with that conversation with Ira, but we have odds with LeBron James and the possibility of him returning to the Miami Heat. I'll give you those odds next. It's Hochman, Crowder, and Solana, along with Jimmy, Zach Gelbin for Hawk on this Thursday. We're back in a few minutes.
This is Hawk, Crowder, and Solana.
I have this fantasy, I've had this for years, of becoming obese and bedridden and just watching TV all day and having people bring me food.
All right, it is Hochman, Crowder, and Solana. Zach Gelb in for Hawk. Solana, I have odds on the possibility that LeBron James will be taking his talents back to South Beach. There is an article out there via the Heat Sports Illustrated site, and the headline says, Miami Heat moving up in LeBron James' next team market on Kalshi.
All right. This interests me because you don't know. Let's not forget the Boston Celtics were out of it, and then on Kalshi, they were all of a sudden the favorite, and then they were out of it, and then they were the favorite, and then Giannis ended up in Miami. But I'm interested to see how people are betting, or I guess not betting, buying into LeBron coming to Miami.
I think the biggest takeaway here, before I give you the number, Zach Gelb does shows on WQAM, and I may not move the needle a lot, but I have moved the needle a little bit because I think I've been the first person on the forefront of leading the charge of having potentially LeBron James come on back. I think
I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Gelby. About 2 weeks ago, I brought it up to Hawk and Crowder. I said, "Hey, there's a pathway. If you want me to draw it up for you, I can draw it up for you. There's a pathway to have Giannis traded here and the Heat acquire LeBron James." And they brushed it off. They said, "Ridiculous. You're a homer. We don't want to hear it." They laughed me out of the room, Gelby.
You just made my point.
Here we are. Here we are where it seems like a legitimate opportunity.
Well, you just made my point. I said move the needle.
Yeah, but I'm saying
you said it.
I'm saying you're not.
You
the
were a
first
tree
one
falling in the forest.
You weren't the first one that had that foresight. You were not the first one.
I was the first person that people took seriously. Is that better for you?
That's fair. That's fair.
Like if I would have came on the show 2 weeks ago and I would have said in my weekly appearance, "Hey Hawk, I have this epiphany that LeBron James is coming back to Miami," they'd be like, "Ooh, Gelby, interesting. Oh, how about that?" Channing will be like, "I'll pop you in the mouth," or something like that. That he said to me once when I said something and he wanted to like punch me in the face. I think it was about Saban coming back to coach the Dolphins. But Solana says it, and they just laugh at you.
Yeah, your Saban back to Miami take was that was tough. I wanted to pop you in the mouth for that too.
That was a good take at the time to save Tua Tagovailoa. It was their best chance to save Tua.
That was a good take for anybody that doesn't know the history of Saban in Miami.
No, I get it. I said it's rather unlikely, but the whole premise was if you want to save the career of Tua Tagovailoa, which I was the only knucklehead on this station that was Tua's done, Tua's over with, and then all you guys are like, "Oh no, he's a top 10 quarterback. Oh, his stats, oh, the game up against Denver, blah 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 blah." Like I tried to just shoot you guys straight with Tua for the beginning.
Gelby, there's a higher percentage chance of the Heat signing Mario Chalmers to run the point with Giannis and Bam right now than there ever was of Nick Saban coming back to coach the Miami Dolphins over the past decade.
By the way, Jimmy, clip that thing out there of Mario Chalmers saying he was interested in returning to the Heat. I think that could be the major story on SportsCenter tonight at 6 p.m.
100%.
I love Jimmy. All righty. Here are the odds from Kalshi. And I have a problem with these odds. First off, is it Kalshi or is it Kalshi? I never know how to say this.
Kalshi, I think.
Kalshi.
Yeah.
Kalshi, yeah.
Kalshi. All righty. Here's the largest percentage of chance. And this is why I think these are fugazi, if I'm being serious. Stays with the Los Angeles Lakers or retires. Don't you have to do one or the other? You're making odds. So shouldn't a certain percentage of chance be goes back to the Lakers and then retire? Not you group them together and put 1% odd on it.
Well, first of all, I feel like they're not doing odds, right? Like,
oh yeah,
it's a trading app. So like they're not doing odds. They're having people trade. So I think they can kind of just do whatever they want. This is the wild, wild west right now. It's not regulated. Like they just do whatever they want, Gelb.
But what do you mean? Like this is not what they think. This is just how people use their money.
I feel like the prices fluctuate more so like based on how people in the market are feeling more so than what they think is going to happen. Because people are buying, you know what I mean? Like people are buying those shares because it's all based on like how they feel a certain thing is going to work out, how a certain transaction is going to work out.
Now you would think that these numbers would equal up to 100%, right?
No.
No?
No, because you're thinking about this from like the sports book perspective, and it's not. This is totally different. Kalshi is like a totally different thing.
No. Well, they go up to 101 here, so I thought I had something here with this. But anyway, stays with the Lakers or retires. What do you think the number is?
60%.
73%.
Yeah.
Okay. Cleveland Cavaliers, 15%. The Golden State Warriors are in front of the Heat at 8%.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Miami Heat at 5%. Now, in this article, it says, Kalshi will grade the market, yes, only if James is on the Miami roster by October 23rd, 2026. At the 5% trading price, to your point, and something that I just will never get, a $10 trade would profit. How much do you think if LeBron returns to the Miami Heat?
Oof, a lot. If it's at 5%, a couple $1,000.
No. Come on. You
About to go throw it in.
$177.40. Not bad.
That's not
$10
bad.
to win nearly 200. Not bad at all.
Not bad.
And I don't think it's that crazy. And here's why. You need two dominoes to fall in your favor. LeBron and Los Angeles, they have a falling out, which I think is definitely possible to do. They're asking him to take less, and he's always felt underappreciated there. And then all the Cavs have to say is, hey, we're not willing to give up our younger player in a sign and trade to go get you for 1 year. And isn't that fascinating that LeBron right now, he feels underappreciated by the Lakers. Issues there. If he goes back to Cleveland, I know he already left and then came back, but there's been issues in the past with Dan Gilbert. I don't think that's a warm and fuzzy relationship. And I know we had that whole clip of Pat Riley and LeBron and then basically doing the smoochy before a game. But you even had issues with LeBron and Pat Riley. Everywhere LeBron goes, he has an issue with an owner or an executive or a general manager. And it doesn't mean that you can't reconcile, because LeBron is the typical guy that pretends to be buddy-buddy with everybody and pretends to be friends with all. But in reality, there's a lot of people he does not like, and I wish he would vocalize that hatred for a lot of people, because it would have been more fun to have true LeBron rivalries and true villains with LeBron and people that he was trying to slay, rather than just Dylan Brooks, that bum Brooks. Like, who cares?
Well, it felt like that with the Celtics, though. It did feel like there was a legitimate rivalry, him and Paul Pierce, and then like the big three teams against the Boston Celtics teams. It felt like there was a legit rivalry. They wanted to do that with LeBron and KD. They wanted that to be the East and West every single year, meeting in the finals. Here's the thing, though, Gelby. LeBron found out real quick after year one in Miami, he didn't want to be a villain. He didn't want to be hated. He didn't want to embrace being a villain.
Yeah.
And Kevin Durant has never had that in him. He's never wanted to be the guy that's being pinned against somebody else. He just doesn't. So I'm with you, by the way. It would have made for more entertainment.
No question. And you said it earlier. We got robbed of a LeBron-Kobe finals. Like, we did see LeBron go up against KD a bunch. The best one was probably the one where LeBron beat him with Oklahoma City, because the ones up against the Golden State Warriors, they were just pointless. Everyone knew that there was no way LeBron with those Cavs teams were going to beat those Warriors teams on steroids. Where the OKC one, there was some legitimate thought that OKC with Harden and Westbrook, even though they were not as well known as they are now, that they were going to beat the Miami Heat, and then Miami ended up winning their first championship with LeBron. But like, you look at sports, we didn't get LeBron up against Kobe. And then also, we never got Brady up against Rodgers, which got close quite a few times. Now, you saw him in the playoffs, that NFC championship game out at Lambeau Field. But at that rate, Brady was on the Bucs, so it was a totally different feel.
Somebody texted in, anyone that believes LeBron is coming to the Heat is just being a homer idiot. You think LeBron will play for the mid-level, which I'm not sure the Heat can even afford. Well, they can't afford that, sir. And there are other ways to open up cap to try to make this work. Sign and trades. If Andrew Wiggins opts into his contract, which I don't expect to happen, I think Andrew Wiggins would rather opt out and then try to work a new deal for lock more years in, even if it means he'll make a little bit less money this year. They can make it happen. Like, there's a reason why this is being talked about, and there's a reason why there's a lot of people speculating that at the very least, LeBron and his camp would consider it because there are actual pathways to making this work.
Well, and that's the thing. It's not a great chance, but there's also a minuscule amount of teams that LeBron would even be interested in. So if you go through the pecking order, and it seems like there's 4 or 5 right now, and he'll be interested in San Antonio. San Antonio's not going to be interested in him. So there's really 4 teams he would be interested in: the Lakers, the Cavs, the Heat, and the Golden State Warriors. And for those 2 teams, the Lakers are going to ask him to take less. Then the Cavs would ask him to take less. And that's why he could be in a position where he does something that no one would ever thought he would do.
Which is what that texter's missing the mark on. It's not that he's going to decide, I'm going to take a mid-level or I'm going to take less money to go play in Miami. No, you're right. He wouldn't do that if the offer from the Lakers was what he would expect to make anywhere, and if the offer with Cleveland is what he would expect to make anywhere. The problem here, sir, or ma'am, I don't know who's texting us, is that the offers are starting to look like they're going to be pretty similar everywhere that he would be considering to be an option. Take less to stay with the Lakers after they just gave Austin Reeves the richest contract in NBA history to a player that went undrafted. I don't know. I don't think that's going to sit well with LeBron, Gelb. I really don't. Take less and go back to Cleveland? Okay, yeah, because, it's Cleveland and maybe he'll do it and the retirement tour. Okay, but are they going to win? If he's going to take less.
And he's going to give Dan Gilbert, who he hates, a discount?
Doesn't he want to be in the best place, if he's going to take less, the best place that can deliver him a title? That might be Miami right now.
I'm going to ask you something about this later. We'll get back into it. But on the other side, I've been talking about this Windhorst interview that I heard on ESPN earlier this morning.
Yeah.
There's 2 other Heat-centric things that I'm curious what your thoughts are on that. So we'll get to it on the other side. It's Hochman, Crowder, and Solana. Zach Gelbin for Hawk. We're coming on back. Dougie Plagan's going to join us coming up at 4:25 today.
This is Hawk, Crowder, and Solana.
You ever just sit in your house naked?
PM and we back on the clock, so don't get cutesy. Dog lead the station unlocked. We got the sports talk and the drama to make sure the T clock. WQAM is the Avengers with no weak spot. For Joe Rose, Woody Bo, Omar and more, Tobin and Leroy giving gooses galore. Yeah, for 2 to 6 is reserved for 3 legends. The captains of America, not no Chris Evans. For Spritz to McRibs and calling out game scores. Hochman, Crowder, Solana, get ready for some more.
That's right. You're ready for some more on Hochman, Crowder, and Solana. Zach Gelb in for Mark Hochman on this Thursday. And Solana, I know today's a big day for you, by the way.
Why is that, Gelb?
You don't know?
The 25th of June. I've got no idea. Why is it a big day?
You have no clue.
It's Dikembe Mutombo's birthday.
It is the 1-year anniversary
Mm-hmm.
of the Miami New Times naming you the best sports radio personality.
That's right. Yeah, that did happen a year ago. They didn't announce one this year. So I don't know if the New Times just punted on naming the best radio personality or sports talk radio personality of Miami, and they're just like, that's not a category anymore, which means I am forever the top sports radio personality in Miami because I won the last one, or if they just are a little late on announcing it. Or does that mean I just won it in back-to-back years, Gelby? If they don't announce it, can I just claim it this year?
Well, I actually have breaking news.
Okay.
The 2026 award winner is once again Alejandro Solana.
Is it really?
I just want to celebrate another day of living, yeah. Jimmy, come on, you're supposed to play the sounder there. I just want to celebrate. Yeah, you won. Congratulations.
I don't know if you're trolling me.
I'm being 1,000% serious. I got a text from Len Weiner to announce this and bring this up. How else would I know about this?
I hold on, Gelby, hold on, because the Miami New Times posted their best of Miami a week ago, and they didn't have any update on who won it this year, and I posted a story just kind of like on this day in 2025. It was announced that I won it. My guess is, this is just a guess, Len saw that story, didn't realize that it was a memory from a year ago, and just, God bless him, assumed I had won it again and was posting it for this year. So I just want to pump the brakes here.
Do you know who Mike Powers is?
Mike Powers? I do not.
How do you win this award and you don't know who he is? He's
Who's
the director of entertainment at Miami New Times, and he joins us right now to introduce, present you this award. Mike, go ahead. Nothing? Oh, sorry. I guess Mike dropped.
Yeah.
No, I just saw your post on Instagram where you want everyone to basically congratulate you again on the 1-year anniversary. So happy 1-year anniversary. So they don't do this each and every year?
No, they did. They did it every single year, but this year there was just no announcement to who won talk radio personality. So my guess is they just kind of, scrapped it. That's my guess.
Well, for being objective about this, it probably should be me.
What?
Yeah, I think it should be me.
Why is that? Explain that.
No, I'm a sensational host on the station now in the Miami market, so it should be me.
I've got a couple people I'd put before you, Gelby. I got to be honest, man.
Joe. I would put Joe Rose in there. Hawk, Crowder, Tobin, Leroy. Am I missing anyone?
Yeah.
Me.
Oh, Jimmy too. Yeah. Dan Day. What are you going to tell me next? Like, come on.
Best sports reporter went to Ira Winderman of the Sun Sentinel.
Oh, wait. So they gave out the awards to everybody else, but they just forgot radio?
I guess they just didn't do radio this year. Like, that's why I'm saying I think they just ended up scrapping the talk show radio category from it this year because I don't know, like there aren't really many people to choose from in terms of talk radio. Like everybody at WQM has already pretty much won it. Hawk has won it. Crowder's won it. Tobin's won it. I won it. My guess is Joe Rose has won it in the past. Like there aren't necessarily too many people to choose from.
So they ran out of everybody.
I guess they just ran out of everybody. Yeah.
Guess we need some new blood. I was talking about this Brian Windhorst interview. We'll get to the stock report coming up in just a second. We will also get to a World Cup update for a little football. Would you want to hear Windhorst's larger plan for the Heat or his Wiggins plan for the Heat first?
Windhorst's larger plan for the Heat or his Wiggins plan?
Yeah.
Let's go with the Wiggins plan first.
He thinks this is what's going to happen with Wiggins. This is what he thinks is going to happen. Obviously, Wiggins has a player option for like $30 million.
Right.
So he does not anticipate Wiggins to pick up that option because it's not that he's leaving. He believes that Wiggins will be back with the Heat, but he thinks it's going to be a multi-year extension so they can lower down that number and not have it be $30 million a year.
Which to me makes more sense for Andrew Wiggins, by the way. Like, it'll be lower, but you lock in more years. And that way the Miami Heat can actually create some flexibility themselves and add a little bit more cap compared to him actually opting in to that deal.
Okay. Now, here was the other thing he said that I thought this was the most intriguing thing that I believe that Brian Windhorst said. 2027 with the Heat. The way he worded this was pretty much get ready to watch the regular season. Like, make your plans for your marquee Heat regular season games because you have Giannis and you have Bam. But he goes, don't think about May or June until 2028. And it wasn't him saying that they're going to miss the playoffs, so they won't be a play-in tournament team. He was basically saying this is going to take time to build this thing. He trusts the Heat and their brass with Pat and with Spo and with Ayrson. But he's basically saying there's a lot of work to do. And 2028 is going to be the first time you could think about meaningful basketball and like thinking you could go far in May or June.
So basically wait a year is what he's saying. You got to wait one full season for all the pieces to kind of come together.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he said. So I thought that was the way he worded it. I thought was intriguing. And I just thought it was interesting because it's like, hey, 2027 schedule comes out. Get your plans ready. Watch the Heat in the regular season. Circle the games that you want. But you really aren't concerned about May or June until the following season, which I think is fine. But why I was intrigued by that is because Pat is older, and I know Pat's not going anywhere, but his clock is ticking and ticking and ticking just with how many more years that he could do this. You would think there'd be more of an urgency to hit the ground running in year one, but once you do get Giannis Antetokounmpo, and there's only so many other things you could do just with how many guys that they got to go bring in here with basically gutting the entire team, which was the right move to go get Giannis, but they still had to gut the team. So I would have thought it would have been all in for the Heat this year, but it seems like it's not going to be all in for the Heat until 2028.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where that logic is coming from, but I just don't see it. I don't see the idea that the Heat this year are just going to be content with winning a first-round series, like how you had mentioned it, right? Like, they'll win a first-round series, they'll avoid the play-in tournament, and then we'll see. I'm not taking away from the Knicks. That's unfair. They just won the NBA title. I agree that the Indiana Pacers are going to be better. We'll see what the Pistons do. They deserve a little bit of credit. We'll see what the Cavs do if they get LeBron. That can be interesting. We'll see, what the Sixers look like. Toronto, if they end up getting Kawhi. There's a lot of teams in the East. That Atlanta deserves a shout. Orlando deserves a little bit of respect. Like, the teams that were in the playoffs this year, you could see them getting better. You could see them making a jump next season. But you're telling me that the Miami Heat this year, adding Giannis Antetokounmpo, it seems like nobody's showing Bobby Portis the respect that he deserves coming off the bench for Miami, or maybe potentially starting for Miami as another great frontline player. And just the options that they're going to have now, whether or not they retain Wiggins and whether or not they retain Norman Powell, that this is a team, if Giannis can stay healthy, Gelb, that can't compete with the top teams in the Eastern Conference. Honestly, like, I know I'm biased when talking about this stuff because I want them to go compete for a title, but I don't see how Giannis getting added to this Miami Heat team doesn't already put them, if he stays healthy, that's the big question mark, doesn't already put them in the conversation to be contending in the Eastern Conference. Can they improve the roster next year? Will they have more flexibility next year? Can they start planning ahead for the future? Yeah, I think all those things make sense. But just with the options that they're going to have available to them this season, this offseason, when free agency hits, I think they're going to have a good enough team. Again, health matters here, but if they stay healthy, to compete in the Eastern Conference, I don't think there's anybody head and shoulders better than the Miami Heat at full strength with Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Wait, better in the East just with Giannis and Bam and not knowing what the rest of the team is?
Head and shoulders better. I genuinely don't think that there's anybody head and shoulders better. The Knicks, you put them ahead for sure. If Jaylen Brown stays in Boston, you can put Boston there also, even though that's not looking likely. But head and shoulders better? I don't think so.
I got to see the rest of the team before I could say that. But
but we're talking about some of the options that they're going to be able to bring in, Gelby. Like, people are assuming
none of
that
these
Miami
options outside of LeBron really excite me, if I'm being serious with you.
But you don't need another star. That's what I'm not understanding. People are talking about the depth. The New York Knicks last year, their bench wasn't good. They just had a
and
great
guess what?
They
made a good bench this year, and they won a championship.
I'm talking about this year. Like, their bench, I think they were 26th in bench scoring. Like, they didn't have
but
these
hold on.
punchers off the bench, Gelb.
They did. Yes, this year, in this season, they did. Mitchell Robinson is a phenomenal bench player. Jose Alvarado, who they got right at the deadline. Deuce McBride was a big part. And Jordan Clarkson, he was up and down, but when needed to, he showed up.
You're making what I'm saying as a negative. I'm not hating on the Knicks bench. I think the Knicks had quality talent off their bench, but nobody off that bench was like this game-changing player.
Sure.
They're just quality role player guys. And I think the Heat are going to be able to find talent comparable to that. And if you can figure out Giannis and Bam in year one, which I give Eric Spoelstra the benefit of the doubt, you have Andrew Wiggins in the starting lineup who can still play at a high level, especially now if he's not going to be accounted for to be a leading scorer and he can just play like the behind-the-scenes role. You're talking about, and with Davion Mitchell, you're talking about maybe the best defensive team in the NBA. So if they can go out and they can get a Tim Hardaway Jr. to supplement the scoring, they can get a Chris Middleton in a limited role to supplement the scoring. You have Bobby Portis, which is going to end up being one of the better players off the bench in the NBA. You have Pelle Larsson, who I know, Gelb, you probably didn't watch too much of Pelle Larsson, but that leap he took from year one to year two was massive.
Sure, but here's what you're not getting.
They've got great role players.
The Heat starting five is not going to be good enough to survive with a below-average bench. The Knicks starting five was arguably the best starting five in the NBA.
Yeah,
when you look at Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, the two most crucial pieces to that championship team, OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges, and then Josh Hart. But I actually was trying to agree with you here for one point that you failed to make. And this is the point. This is why the Heat fans should be optimistic this year. And I'm not saying that this team's going to go to the NBA Finals this year or even the conference finals. But if they go all out in the regular season, which I think this team is going to have a drive in the regular season. Look at the Boston Celtics last year. The Boston Celtics last year gutted that team. They got rid of Kristaps Porzingis. They got rid of Al Horford, right? They got rid of so many guys. That was not a great team on paper with Jason Tatum out for the majority of the season. And Jaylen Brown on his own pretty much got that team to the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference and won them 50-something games. The Heat last year had, 43 wins, I believe it was?
Yeah, 43.
So if Giannis is healthy with Bam and not even knowing what the rest of this team is, why can't they be 48, 49, 50 wins and be a third or a fourth seed in the East? I think that's very possible. But to Windhorse's point, when you fully build out this roster, this is the year where you're just getting it. I'm not saying off the ground, but this isn't the year where they're really going for it. It would be a year from now.
Yeah, and I told you, I think that's fair because I think you bring in Giannis and then you start to add those pieces and then you start to figure it out. And most of the time, Gelb, it happened with the New York Knicks. It happened with the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's happened a lot, right? Where you bring in a superstar, you bring in a big-time player. They don't win right off the bat. I mean, shoot, you could look at the Big Three Heat.
Yeah.
It took them a season to go and contend, or not contend, but actually win the NBA title, even though I think they should have won it that first year. As we talked about, that's fine. I'm not hating on that logic. It's sound logic. It makes sense to me that you bring in Giannis. You think you have at least 3-4 more years of Giannis Antetokounmpo being one of the best top 10 players in the NBA, and then you can start filling out the pieces there. Him and Bam are on the same timeline. We've talked about all that stuff. I'm just not ready to assume because on June 25th, we're sitting here and we don't know what other moves are going to be made. We don't know what the roster is going to look like. I'm just not writing off this team as, oh, best case scenario, they're a top 4 seed and they can win 2 playoff series and that's it. Because I don't think it's going to end up being like that. I think the Heat are going to go for it. I think there could be another big move in the works. And I trust this coaching staff to maximize some of these guys that we're talking about coming here that maybe on paper aren't big-time game-changing players, but next to Giannis Antetokounmpo, next to Bam, with a top 3 defense in the NBA, could end up being a tough out in the playoffs.
By the way, I know we got to get a stock market report in, and we got to also get some World Cup scores and headlines. I wish I saw this post that you made from the Miami New Times, basically glazing yourself for winning this award in 2025 as the best sports radio personality.
What are you doing there, Gelby? I mean, nobody likes to promote themselves more on social media than you do, which, by the way, I love. And I won this award. I'm the only one at the radio station that posts on social media. Had I not posted that, nobody would have posted it. So, yeah, I glazed myself a little bit. What's the big deal? That was a big deal for me.
No, what I was about to say is I'm a little bit annoyed that I didn't see it like earlier in the day, because then I would have just called a friend of mine up to pretend to be like Mike Powers or something to present you the award and actually have you going for it. Because I just saw that come back from break and I was like, I'll have a little fun.
Did you make that name up, or was that a real name?
I just made it up. Do you have one of these? This is a Temple University 30 under 30 award-winning trophy that I just have sitting next to me.
Yeah, I know about those 30 under 30 awards.
Such a sham.
You pay to be in the 30 for under 30 awards.
No, I actually got it in my last year of eligibility. They screwed me all those years. And then I got a call from the dean, and he goes, I don't understand how we didn't give this award out to you yet. And I ended up getting it. You think I'm giving a dime back? No chance.
My fiance couldn't believe, by the way, that you and I are the same age. She thought you were 55 years old. She's like, yeah, he's Hawk's age, right?
Oh,
I'm like, no, God. He just sounds like an old geezer. But nah, he's actually 31 years old.
You tell her I got stamina, all right? That's what you tell her.
All right.
I got just a comment on the YouTube video. Not the YouTube video. Now I sound old right there. On Instagram, I just saw some guy said, this Gelb guy makes everything sexual. You have a few little sexual innuendo jokes, and people get so sensitive in PG here. Jeez.
They've been counting, Gelb. They've been counting.
Yeah. Well, tell them to keep on counting.
We've got a classy fan base down here in Miami.
Oh,
real
yeah.
classy.
Real classy.
Sure do.
Let me tell you. When I think of class, I think Hochman, Crowder, Solana, and Jimmy. Class. All righty. Take it away with the stock market report, and then also all the other good things we got cooking here.
Yeah, stock market hasn't been great over the past couple days in terms of like our updates here, but seems like kind of turned a bit of a corner today. It's brought to you by Anajar and Levine, accident attorneys, or maybe not. NASDAQ fell today. I'm just reading on CNBC. Dropped 0.6%. S&P 500 traded around flatline, and the Dow was up 80 points or 0.2%. That's brought to you by Anajar and Levine, accident attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Hey, Gelb, I'm flying out to New York right after the show. Flight's at 7:40. I brought my my luggage here into the studio. I'm going to take an Uber from the Citadel.
You have TSA pre-check?
I got TSA pre-check. I've got clear, even though I don't need it. So flight's at 7:40. I get to the airport around 6:30. That's fine, right? Everybody cool with that? About 20-minute Uber ride from here.
So you're going to get there at 6:30, you said?
Yeah. I leave. Show's over at 6. Hop in an Uber like 6:10. Takes about 20.
You're there an
minutes.
hour before. That's what TSA pre-check. You should be good. And it's a Thursday, not a Friday. If it was a Friday, I'd say maybe a little bit of a travel problem, but I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean,
you'll be fine.
I know, it's like some people swear by, get there 2 hours early. Make sure you're there 2 hours early.
Nah.
Because they don't have pre-check.
With TSA pre-check, you fly right through, man.
Yeah, and you don't got to take your shoes off as well.
Well, they don't make you do that anymore.
Yeah, I know. But no, if you...
Even without TSA pre-check, TSA, like, they went away with that rule. They don't make people take off their shoes anymore.
Then why am I paying for TSA pre-check then?
Because you get to cut the lines. Even though now TSA pre-check, they're getting real cutesy. Everybody's got TSA pre-check. There's like a new TSA pre-check plus that you got to apply for. Just want to squeeze more dollars out of all of us.
So your fiance thought I was Hawk's age?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
This whole time, you've been pretending that you're spitting game to my fiance. Meanwhile,
I'm not trying
behind
to
the
spit
scenes,
game to your fiance.
Meanwhile, behind the scenes, she thought you were like 50, 60 years old.
No. That would just be, she probably thinks I'm a creepy old man then.
Yep. Bingo.
Oh, my God. I'm coming over for a cookout this summer. I was invited by you.
0% chance.
You invited me last week. You're like, oh, you'll come on down. My mom and my dad, and then the cooking and all that. You invited me.
That offer's been rescinded after a week. After the Knicks won the title, that offer was rescinded.
No.
World Football Scoreboard. Here's your updates brought to you by your local Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks is truly unmatched for every match. 29-degree drafts of Michelob Ultra spicy margaritas made with Casamigos and unrivaled views all tournament. Twin Peaks, each drink scenic views. Your main update is that the United States does play tonight. Their final group stage game. This game doesn't really matter for the U.S. They've won their group already after winning the first two games, but they'll still play Turkey A tonight, 10 p.m. Paraguay will play Australia. That's Group D. They'll round out the standings in Group D. Right now, Ivory Coast leads Curacao 1-0. And Germany scored in the first 2 minutes against Ecuador. This is finalizing Group E, but Ecuador was able to equalize, which is good news for Ecuador. If this result holds, at the very least, they'll have 2 points, and they'll be a third-place team that could potentially move on. But with 2 points, it's not likely. Right now, Germany, again, with these results, is leading Group E.
This is the most painful part, by the way, me filling and having to listen to all this soccer stuff.
Yeah, you haven't bought into the World Cup, huh?
No, I like
Crazy
everyone's trying to get. You see, this is what I think I hate about it. I'm not excited about this, and everyone else is excited about this. So it's not like FOMO, but everyone's trying to get me excited about the World Cup, and it's never gonna click for me. Never will.
Crazy. I have no idea how you're not loving. Like, all I've done is watch the World Cup for the past 2 weeks. That's all I've done. I've watched every single World Cup game.
My barber yesterday is going nuts over the World Cup. And I'm just like, don't mess up my haircut. Like, I'm just trying to watch this. I'm not trying to watch this. I'm trying to get a cut in and out. It could be played in the courtyard right outside. I literally would not watch it. I have zero interest.
What do you tell your barber you want when you go get a haircut? Because your hair looks exactly like it did yesterday.
No, I got a lot of hair that got taken off yesterday.
All right.
I usually just do a light trim with scissors. But yesterday, I'm going down to the shore, so I wanted to just get more hair taken off so I'm not so sweaty. So I had an 8 and then just trim on the top.
And you go clean shaven on the face all the time?
No, I've been growing out the beard here.
Nah, you can't grow out a beard.
No,
you got the patch. You got the patches going on.
No,
patches
like the goatee. But I literally shaved in my shower like 2 days ago or something.
You got a
like
couple salt and peppers coming out too. I could tell.
A couple? Yeah, more than a couple.
Your headlines.
My girlfriend goes to me. She goes, "Your hair used to be jet black before we started dating." I go, "Yeah, it's your fault."
I'm getting there too, man. The grays are starting to come out. That's why I go fade. Heavy fade on the sides. I got the grays all down the sideburns.
So I went a 4-year stretch.
Jimmy, you're 60 years old, dude. Of course you got the grays.
I used to do a 4-year stretch where I would do the fade because when you get the hair like trimmed lower, all the grays go away. Now, when I get it cut like this, I realize it's short. Yeah, there's a lot of grays right there.
Mm-hmm.
Your girlfriend, your fiance now thinks I'm 70 probably.
Your headlines are sponsored by Doral Volkswagen, home of the Pricito, our lowest price. Visit us at Doral Volkswagen or at DoralVolkswagen.com. The Miami Heat yesterday did trade up in the second round. We talked about it a bunch earlier in the show. Obviously, we're still monitoring several different things around the NBA. The biggest one today was that LaMelo Ball was traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So that's your big new duo in the NBA, Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball. Florida Panthers made a trade. We'll talk about it with Doug Plagans on the other side. Your weather, it's brought to you by Tornado Roofing and Contracting. Storm season is coming. Make sure your home is ready. Get your free roof and window estimate today. Visit tornadoroofing.com. 90 degrees, hot and humid as well.
Doug Plagans coming up next. We'll talk about the possibility of the Panthers adding a new goaltender. We'll be back. Hochman, Crowder, and Solana. Zach Gilbin for Hawk.
You're listening to the Hawk, Crowder, and Solana Show.
All right, I'll start with Chuck here. Chuck in Miami Gardens.
What they do? What they do?
That's for you, Crowder.
Got
fortune, fame, mirror vein, gone insane, but the memory remains.
Alrighty, welcome back in. It is Hochman, Crowder, and Solana. The Florida Panthers have acquired another Kachuk. Now, maybe they'll be getting a Hellebuck. And Doug Plagans is here with us on the Toyota of Hollywood hotline. Shop over 2,000 Toyotas on sale at one location. Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan. ToyotaofHollywood.com. We welcome in the radio voice of the Florida Panthers right here on WQAM, Doug Plagans. Doug, appreciate the time. It's Zach Gelbin, Solana. How are you?
No problem at all. Thanks so much for having me, guys. Great to talk to you. How you doing?
Well, we're doing great, and I admire the Panthers organization because we know that there's been no shortage of winning. They had every excuse in the book this year to not really be aggressive this offseason and just chalk it up to the injuries that they suffered last year. But them setting this aggressive tone and acquiring Brady Tkachuk, hats off to the organization.
Well, I'll tell you what, there are a lot of different angles from which to approach this one here. First of all, can't wait to see Brady Tkachuk throw that Panthers sweater on for the first time. We had a chance to talk to him the other day for FloridaPanthers.com and our official podcast, Territory Talk. And he's just over the moon excited to be a Panther, to team up with his brother. We know the last time that they were on the same team together, Team USA obviously did some big things at the Olympics back in February, so they have won together, and it'll be great to see them team up with the Panthers. Put Brady Tkachuk on this Panthers team, and they have the best top 9 forwards that you're going to see on an NHL roster currently. It's a really loaded group right now that makes a Panthers team that, as you mentioned, you figured as long as they got back to full health, they were going to be right back in that top tier of teams as a contender for the Stanley Cup once again. And certainly goes without saying that's the case now, throwing Brady Tkachuk into the mix. But one of the other things you have to look at here with this, and going back to something you referenced off the top, Zach, you look at the teams that have won Stanley Cups in this decade, whether it's the Panthers, Vegas, Tampa Bay, Colorado, most recently Carolina, you could put in this same group. Every team I just mentioned has won a Stanley Cup in this decade, and every one of those teams, well, needless to say, they don't shy away from making the big move when they can make one to supplement their roster, to really fortify their roster. Not one of those teams will shy away from the big move. They're all willing to take the big swing. They have in recent years, and every one of those teams has won a cup in this decade. And I think what you're seeing right now, more than anything, and I think the Panthers and Vegas are the two teams who've probably shown this the most over the years here. You have to be aggressive in this current NHL, and you can't sit back and be afraid to make a move. And Bill Zito has shown time and time again, he's always 2 or 3 steps ahead of all of us when it comes to supplementing this Panthers roster. Long-winded way of saying, I just can't wait to see Brady Tkachuk put that Panthers uniform on, and every night's going to be tough in the Atlantic Division. Every one of these teams are going into the season with high aspirations. So that's another reason the Panthers wanted to make sure that they were continuing to push forward, even though they already had a contending group they could put on the ice.
It's funny to think back, Plagans, when the Panthers trade Huberdeau, and everybody's like, what? Like, what are they doing? And you know, like the trust just wasn't built yet. And now, I mean, every move that Zito's making, it feels like a home run. Plagans, does this team have the opportunity to be the most talented Panthers team that we've seen throughout this run, which I know is insane? They haven't even taken the ice yet. We don't even know what the team's going to look like. And they've won 2 championships already, 2 Stanley Cup finals, but it just feels like, you know, we're kind of heading in that direction.
So looking at the roster right now, and obviously it is only June 25th, and a lot of things can shake out between now and the start of next season. And now in the start of the preseason, Panthers actually put out the announcement today announcing the preseason schedule. So make sure to take a look at that. But, you know, between now and the start of the regular season, obviously there's a lot that can happen as far as the Panthers are concerned, a lot that can happen around the division, a lot that can happen around the league. But as things currently stand, it'd be tough to find a roster more talented than what this Panthers group has right now. And you know, they certainly have the opportunity to do that. Now, the 2025 team, you start to see now when lists are getting put together and things like that, the 2025 Panthers, just looking at that group, that was the year that Brad Marchand and Seth Jones were acquired midseason. I agree with it. There are folks out there. I've seen some lists. The Sporting News, I think, put one out, kind of suggesting that 2025 Panthers team was the best Panthers or the best Stanley Cup champion of the salary cap era. And you start to kind of think back of, all the talent that group had and what they were able to do in winning the second of their 2 Stanley Cups. And it's tough to come up with a team that was a better collection of talent than that one. So it would be tough to top that one, but this group certainly has the opportunity to do that. Obviously it would take winning another Stanley Cup, but they are going to have the talent to be able to make that kind of a run. Again, knock on wood, assuming everybody is healthy and ready to go, and they're blessed with health throughout the season as well.
Yeah, and who we could thank for that? Solana, because he wanted no part of Marchand. And then Marchand, obviously, coming up from Boston, is an absolute stud.
I don't know about that, Plagans. There was just some
you
bad
had to
blood.
apologize him after he won the cup. You had to walk up to him on the ice and apologize to him.
A little bit of bad blood from his Bruins days, Gelb. But that's all right. No hard feelings anymore. No, I'm a big Marchie guy.
I'm sure you're forgiven.
I don't know. Marchand told me he thinks Solana's a jerk anyway. When we get to the goaltending situation, Doug Plagans, is Bob definitely gone? Because that's what it feels like we're seeing online.
Well, I'm not in any of those closed door conversations that may or may not be having, so I can't really give you a firm update on anything as it pertains to that. Most recently, at the Brady Tkachuk introductory press conference a few days ago, it was our friend Jordan McPherson from the Miami Herald, I believe, who asked the question to Bill Zito, but just kind of asked for an update of where things were as far as Sergei Bobrovsky was concerned. And Bill Zito was, right away said, no doors closed until it's closed. And I think that's one of those things. Look, if we're talking about it right here, then that Bill Zito and his team and the people who would be involved in a decision like that are all way ahead of us on the conversation. And I'm sure the goaltending situation is going to be addressed one way or the other. And, regardless of who it is, I'm sure they've got something planned and, probably a plan B and a plan C. And, they probably have all the different options all weighed out. So I'm sure they have something up their sleeve. And like I said, I think at this point in time, with the track record that Bill Zito's established here as the Panthers president of hockey operations and general manager, he's going to have this team one way or another positioned as best as it can be to make a run at another Stanley Cup come October. So, it's a long-winded way for me to basically say we're just going to have to wait and see how things play out there.
Yeah, and I know it's in a difficult spot for you, but I'm just telling you my perspective as a Ranger fan. With how much respect I have for this Panthers organization, I'm just assuming they're going to get rid of Bob and then they're going to go trade for Hellebuck, because this organization, they get every benefit of the doubt right now. And to see what they've done, I just have nothing but respect for this Panthers ownership group and executives.
Can you believe, Plagans, what they got me doing here? A Knicks fan and a Rangers fan. And
Vinny Viola grew up as a Ranger fan. Give him, come on.
We've been chopping it up with him while Hawks gallivanting over in Europe. I got to talk to the Knicks fan and the Rangers fan. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
It's a special culture that's been developed. And I think you look back over the course of the NHL's history, you look back over the course of sports history, and you see those different eras that certain teams have. And there was superior talent when teams were able to have these long runs of success and things like that. And obviously you get great talent assembled. That's going to come from great managerial decisions, great coaching decisions, great scouting, great management across the board. As you mentioned, extremely solid ownership, all those different factors certainly come into play. But, at the end of the day, teams with the great cultures that they can establish, that they can sustain, those teams are able to have prolonged success. And that's the biggest thing with this Panthers team. Everything that they have, every person they have in any position, whether it be on or off the ice, is just a perfect fit. And, that's where it all starts at the top with the Viola family ownership and down through Bill Zito and Paul Maurice as the head coach, pushing all the right buttons night to night. And what Paul Maurice has also mentioned throughout the season and throughout the years as kind of the Barkov effect. When you have, in my mind, a player in Sasha Barkov who I know Connor McDavid might do things at full speed nobody's ever been able to do. And I know Nathan McKinnon might be the most explosive player in terms of acceleration, for example, in the league. I don't think there's anybody on planet Earth right now in the game who impacts the game more shift to shift in every situation, whether it be, offensive zone, defensive zone, 5-on-5, penalty kill, power play, than Alexander Barkov does. And when you have a guy like that who has the C on his jersey, who's willing to do every little bit of dirty work and things that don't show up on the box score and all those things. And, the old cliches, first guy on the ice, last guy off the ice, putting in the work. When you have that guy doing that, it makes it so much easier, for everything else to fall in line. And it makes it easy too when you have a group of professionals, along with Sasha Barkov on this team that are hungry, regardless of what they've accomplished in the past. They're always hungry for more, whether you have players like Matthew Tkachuk and Sam Reinhart. And I know it's something that gets thrown around a lot, but you really do have a team full of leaders here with this Panthers group. And that's part of what's led this team to be able to have the sustained success. It's a culture that guys around the league want to be a part of. And we seem to experience that all the time when it comes to the Panthers having opportunities to add to this roster.
Hey, Plagans, we were talking about this last week with Hawk and Crowder because we genuinely didn't know, and we wanted to ask you, but they're just off today. What's the typical timeline for NHL goaltenders, generally speaking? And I'm not talking about Bob in general because he's 37 years old, and we just didn't know because you look at Jaromir Jagr played until he was 75 years old. He's still playing.
What did you say his last name was?
Jagr.
Okay, I
feel
like you said that.
Plagans, isn't he still playing in his home country, the team that he
so
owns?
He has played a little bit, but I think he hinted to NHL.com recently that might have been it. That might have been the end of the road. But, so we'll wait and see. Now, I do think that's a whole different can of worms. I do think that regardless of how much he's played overseas, he should already have a plaque in Toronto. We shouldn't be kicking his Hall of Fame eligibility down the road for that, but that's another conversation.
But
getting back to what you're saying about goaltending longevity, I believe is what you were asking about.
Yeah, because Ovechkin is playing into his 40s. Corey Perry. I think Jonathan Quick is still active, and he was playing into his 40s as well.
Yeah, this is last season.
Right. So what's you? I guess generally speaking, where goaltenders can still play at a extremely high level in the NHL and have deep Stanley Cup Finals runs, because we genuinely just didn't know. And the conversation about Bob that he's turning 37, but played pretty well last season. And 2-3 years ago, Plagans, he was still playing at an extremely high level, winning Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, with goaltenders, it really is very case by case, but at the same time, Sergei Bobrovsky looks like a guy who's still got runway to his career. I know he's, you mentioned at his current age, he's definitely, into the twilight, I guess you'd say, of his career, conventionally speaking. But, goaltenders can play into their, they can be elite from their mid into their late 30s and even pushing 40. Obviously a lot of it is case by case. All these athletes are different, but the way they take care of themselves, and I can tell you too, just watching Sergei Bobrovsky reminded you a little bit, of Roberto Luongo, who was elite for a long time and played a long time and was, like I said, remained at the top of his game in the late stages of his career. You see when these guys are off the ice, the preparation that goes into it and how detail-oriented they are and the way that they're just dedicated to the craft, on non-game days and the way they take care of themselves. These are elite athletes, and like I said, they take all the necessary measures possible to be able to extend their careers as much as they can. Now, there are a lot of people out there who know goaltending much more than I do. They're all different athletes. Some goaltenders rely more on reflexes and agility. Some goaltenders rely more on positioning and fundamentals and things like that. And some would suggest that, there are different styles that may last longer and all those kind of things. But I think with the modern goaltender, it's hard to just make a blanket statement and say that, they usually have a shelf life that's this long and then it falls off a cliff. It's just not the case. It's, it's like quarterback in the NFL. You see some guys lose it in their early to mid 30s. Some guys can last until they're well past 40. I think it really is a case by case basis, but just in watching the way that Sergei's gone about his business, no reason to think that he doesn't still have a good bit of runway left.
Yeah, like you saw the Hall of Fame announcer the other day. Keith Kachuk got in, but Carey Price also got in, and it's like, wow, his career's already over. He's already in the Hall of Fame. He's 38 years old. Plagans, they tell me that you're an elite food guy. Any food takes that are brewing these days that I have to be informed about?
Oh, geez, this is just kind of open-ended food conversation.
Yeah.
I'm actually, I've been on a chicken Caesar wrap kick, but that's really nothing. That's really nothing new. I've been a chicken Caesar wrap guy for as long as I think I've known what a chicken Caesar wrap was.
I think they're overrated.
Oh, get out of here!
Yeah,
get out of here,
you know. If you're driving around South Florida right now, my chicken Caesar wrap #1 seed might be Tap 42. If anybody's been to one of those in the area.
like Tap 42.
That is Plagans. That is crazy that you say that. So I went on a chicken Caesar wrap tour where I was just in my area, Plagans and Kendall, trying to find the best chicken Caesar wrap. I did this all on Instagram. Like I was posting videos of me doing this last summer. And you know what #1 was, Plagans? Tap 42.
What?
Tap 42.
Very nice. Now, did you go with the grilled or the crispy in there? Because I've had both and I like both, and I'm not sure which I give the nod to.
I think the crispy is better because it's fried chicken. Why wouldn't it be better? But I typically tend to go grilled because I'm trying to keep the weight down.
That wedding diet.
Plagans, right? Yeah, the wedding diet for sure. But it is so funny because I didn't know that Tap 42 had a chicken Caesar wrap, and somebody from Tap 42 reached out to me and was like, hey, go try it. You're going to love it there. And I went, and no joke, that is the best chicken Caesar wrap that I've found thus far. I know there's a bunch of places up in Boca, Plagans, that people swear have great chicken Caesar wraps as well, but Tap 42 is no joke.
I've been to the really prominent one that everybody talks about, and the name eludes me, and it was very good, but I still give the nod to Tap 42. My wife and I go there relatively frequently, and that's my go-to. That's my #1 seed on chicken Caesar wraps, and my #1 seed on the Tap 42 menu right now is the chicken Caesar wrap.
So the chicken Caesar wrap, is basically the Florida Panthers, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, reliable. You know what you're going to get, but
come a long way.
It's a high-level, elite dining experience.
You got it. Doug Plagans, the radio voice of the Florida Panthers right here on WQAM. We appreciate the time.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Plagans.
You're a chicken Caesar wrap guy?
Man, I love a chicken Caesar wrap. Like, I love a chicken Caesar wrap. But no joke, Gelb, I wasn't lying there. Last year on Instagram, I just started asking people, where's the best chicken Caesar wrap? Where is it? And the place Plagans was talking about is Vinny's Cafe in Boca. Apparently I haven't been yet, but there's lines out the door every single day for those wraps. They make like 50,000 of them a day. But Tap 42 is what a lot of people were DMing me.
I love Tap 42.
And it hit so damn good every single time. It's amazing.
My grandma lives in Boca, and there's one like 10 minutes from her, that Tap 42. We go there all the time. It's a really good restaurant. I didn't even know they had a chicken Caesar. I'm not a big chicken Caesar wrap guy, and I'm like a healthier eater-ish, which is probably surprising to a lot of people, but I don't know. I just think they're usually like loose, those chicken Caesar wraps, and sometimes the dressing just isn't that good.
The dressing isn't that good. It's Caesar dressing. I mean,
like
Caesar dressing is amazing every single time.
It's too wet. Moist chicken. Don't really love it. All righty. We're coming on back. We'll do some headlines. We'll get back into the Heat conversation. Is the better option for LeBron to come to South Beach, or is it to stay with the Los Angeles Lakers and La La Land? We'll get to that next on Hochman, Crowder, and Solana.
You're listening to the Hawk, Crowder, and Solana Show.
The Florida Panthers are back-to-back Stanley Cup champions.
Alrighty, Hochman, Crowder, and Solana. Zach Gelbin for Mark Hochman. By the way, 5 o'clock Funky Buddha happy hour is right now and is brought to you by our friends at Funky Buddha Brewery. Good vibes on tap. I know that's been annoying you the last few days, Solana, that I usually just go 1,000 miles an hour and I don't wait for the sound effect to end. I saw you yesterday just going like, slow down. We got to get the sound effect in. We'll be fine.
Pay big bucks for that sound effect, man. Got to play it.
Of course. I've been to Funky Buddha. I got a meal there with Hawk. It was delicious.
You got a meal. You got to see somebody propose.
Yeah. That's still wild. Imagine getting down on one knee. Not that it's a problem at Funky Buddha, but with Dan Day doing trivia. That is not Mr. Romantic to me, if you're just asking my 2 cents.
If you hang out around Dan Day enough, things just happen when you're with Dan Day. Just things happen when you're with Dan Day.
He came up to me the next day and he was like, Gelby, whoa, like, can you believe that there was an engagement here? Unbelievable. Whoa. It's like, dude, where's my car? Every time I talk to Dan Day, it's just like, I'm on a different vibe. I'm like, I got to slow it down for Dan Day.
He lives his life the way only Dan Day can. Legend.
Yeah. I thought I saw Dan Day on the 4 train here in the city earlier this morning, begging for change. 2 things real quickly. I know we got to get to Mario Chalmers and we got to get to headlines. According to Shams Charania, the Lakers have not offered LeBron James a contract yet, and there has not been any communication between the two since the negotiation window first opened. So that's from Shams. And also, I've been seeing like every Giannis clip. My algorithm on Twitter right now is Giannis this, Giannis that, Giannis this, Giannis that. Ramona Shelburne, this was the day after the Heat acquired Giannis Antetokounmpo. She said, if you're going to break up with the Lakers, you got to have a story. Miami is a good story. Cleveland would be a good story. Golden State would be a good story. I wouldn't have said Miami until they did this last night, but those 3 teams make sense to me. I wouldn't say never.
Ooh, interesting.
I'm telling you.
And Wendy said it earlier.
To Miami.
Wendy said it earlier. He was on Pat McAfee. Said the most Cleveland can offer LeBron right now without trading anybody is $4 million.
Yep. He's
not playing for $4 million.
They would have to give up Jared Allen. But Wendy also said that Jaylen Brown would definitely be on the Boston Celtics. And that was 5 days ago. And now he's saying there's no chance he's going to be on the Boston Celtics. So this is what I've learned. And this goes back to the decision. Because Broussard and Stephen A. Smith would be on their TV stations each and every day putting out a new team. With the NBA, expect speculation to happen. And expect it to change day to day, where someone will be so adamant one day and then it will totally change the next. All right, I know we got to get to Mario Chalmers, and we'll get his thoughts on a potential LeBron James reunion. But let's first get to headlines with my man, Alejandro Solana.
Headlines. They're brought to you by Doral Volkswagen, home of the Pricito, our lowest priced. Visit us at Doral Volkswagen or at DoralVolkswagen.com. Well, Gelb just gave you the biggest headline there. That is very, very interesting. I wonder, Gelb, are Lakers fans fine if LeBron leaves?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think the tenor of the fan base is in LA? Because it always kind of felt like they didn't. He won them a title, so the idea that like the Lakers fans didn't love LeBron, obviously, I don't think that's true. But it never felt like they fully embraced LeBron as like a Laker. You know what I mean? Like an all-time great Laker, even though he's the greatest player to ever wear the Lakers jersey. Just, I don't know, it always felt like a little different than it did with Kobe or with Shaq, or than it felt with Magic or Kareem. And even Luka, like, I guess just because Luka fell into their lap in the most improbable way, it just felt a little bit different with LeBron.
Yeah, I think that's because if you look at the new era of sports fan, right? If you look at like your target demo, like 25 to 50 something, those are the P1 Kobe fans. So, like, there was that debate for all that while. And it's kind of like how I am with Rory McIlroy. I can't stand Rory McIlroy. And it's something that Rory did. It's just because I was a massive Tiger fan. So if you're a massive Kobe fan, you didn't love LeBron because LeBron took the torch from him. And then LeBron joins the Lakers. So it was all awkward. But yeah, I think that they're ready to move on. It's just that they don't know how to break up. Like it would make sense. I know it is Luka's team now, but to officially make it Luka's team, and until LeBron isn't on the roster, it can't fully become Luka's team.
Just looking here for some World Cup updates. Ecuador and Germany still tied 1-1. Ivory Coast are leading Curacao 1-0 right now. USA will play a little bit later today at 10 o'clock versus Turkey. I'll be landing in New York right around that time. So perfect time for me to get back to...
We're hanging out tonight?
If you want. Where are you at, in the city?
Yeah, I'm in the city. I'm down in Financial District, but I'm out tomorrow morning early.
All right, so neither of us sleep, right? Like we just go out, we hit New York. I'll take an Uber into Long Island, and I'll take the train to you.
Not in.
What?
Not in Long Island. On Long Island.
In Long Island.
No,
I'm going to Long Island.
No, you're going on Long Island. You're on an island, not in an island.
I'm going into the island.
Please. Yeah, hit me up. I'll see if I respond.
All right. Kobe White. Every time I go to New York, by the way, Gelb is always like, "Oh, Crowder, you don't want to hit me up." Every time I go to New York, I hit up Gelb. Oh, he happens to not be there. You're leaving.
I'm going
the
to the
weekend,
shore.
and I'm going to be in New
Margate.
York.
Sorry, I apologize.
Well, change your plans. Let's hang out, bro. I'm only there for a couple days. Let's hang out. Change your plans.
You're there tonight?
Yeah, I get in at 10 though. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not going
to
to
sleep.
The city.
Solana's going schluffy. He ain't coming to party and rage with me in the city.
I don't think you can hang with me, bro. I'm just being 100% honest. I don't think you can hang with me. You seem like the guy who you're a big dude who pretends like he can hang and he can
Buddy, I'm
throw
Michael
down some
Jordan.
brews.
I'm Michael Jordan when it comes to that scene.
Yeah, but you're Michael Jordan when in a Wizards jersey.
No, trust me. I'm Michael Jordan in a Bulls jersey, the way that Hawk reveres Michael Jordan.
There's a couple other NBA notes that I want to get to. Kobe White is going to sign a 3-year, $74 million deal with the Hornets. So any idea of Kobe White coming to Miami, not that it ever felt like that was going to happen, but it was definitely something that had been bandied about. That's out the door. We've touched on it a little bit. What the hell do you make of LaMelo Ball going to Minnesota? Who wins that trade in your mind, Gelby? Because LaMelo and Anthony Edwards, it's fun. It's going to be great to follow, but it kind of feels like the Hornets got the better end of that deal, getting out of LaMelo Ball and his craziness. And they're going to build around Brandon Miller. They're going to build around the young core that they have there with Knipple.
Knipple.
Yeah, and they got the first round pick and Naz Reid, who I love. I'm a big Naz Reid fan.
I still think it's the Timberwolves, and here's why. I understand everything you just said about the deal and the return that they got, but getting LaMelo Ball, to Minnesota makes Anthony Edwards want to stay. But if LaMelo doesn't work with Anthony Edwards, I think that's the last understanding that and benefit of the doubt that Ant-Man gives the Timberwolves, and then he would try to force his way out. That's a player that if the Heat didn't have Bam, I think we'd be pushing, hey, Ant-Man with Giannis. That would be fun. There's nothing left that the Heat have to give up, but if they could, would you trade Bam for Anthony Edwards in a deal? I would, and I know you would too.
Listen,
you would have to.
Let's have conversations when the opportunity presents itself.
You Heat chill.
Let's have those conversations when those conversations need to be had. I'm not talking.
You and Plagans,
you
guys won't speculate. You guys have to, I have to suck up to the Heat. I have to suck up to the Panthers. You absolutely would.
I'm not talking about trading Bam. I'm not speculating about trading Bam 3 days after they paired up Bam Adebayo with Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm not doing that, Gelb. I'm not doing that. But would I want Anthony Edwards? 100%. You're damn right I would.
Of course
Give me
you would.
Anthony Edwards.
You would get rid of Bam in a second. You would trade Anthony Edwards for Spo.
No.
Do you remember the coach I threw out there when I was saying, who I would hire if Spo did get traded for whatever person you said. You remember the coach I threw out there?
Was it Chris Quinn or was that Hawk?
No, mine was Dusty May.
Oh,
and then he got an
right.
NBA job with the
That's
Mavericks.
Right. He did get an NBA job. Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Los Marlins, they'll be in St. Louis tomorrow. They'll play the Cardinals 8:15. Marlins have been on a tear, man. They deserve a little bit of love. 3 games above 500. Your weather in South Florida right now, it is hot, 90 degrees. Tonight, the lows are going to drop into the mid to upper 80s. This weather report was brought to you by Tornado Roofing and Contracting, replacing roofs, roof repairs, maintenance, and hurricane impact windows and doors. Visit tornadoroofing.com.
Yeah, and also talking about the Marlins, congratulations to Sandy Alcantara, who the other day has the most strikeouts now in the history of the Marlins. I think it's a perfect time to trade him. And all these guys coming in, Alcantara going out.
Why are you trying to trade all our stars, man? What's going on? You want to trade Bam? You want to trade Sandy? What's going on here, Gelb?
It's because of the contract, and we're about to go on a labor strike. You may as well get something for him. I'm actually trying to help the fish. I'm trying to make Jimmy go into the studio and start to scream, everyone's doing the fish. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm trying to bring good times back. I'm here, they get Kachuk. I'm here, they get Giannis. They're going to get Hellebuck coming up soon. I know when to get rid of people before anybody else does, and I know how to bring in the talent. You could thank me.
All right. I won't, but okay.
Like, you know how you do the 305? You go, dale, thank you. Just say thank you and shut your mouth. Mario Chalmers is going to join us on the other side. Is LeBron coming back to the Miami Heat? We'll discuss that next.
You're listening to the Hawk, Crowder, and Solana Show.
My metabolic age is 15.
Yeah, well, your metabolic IQ is 15 as well.
Got what you